for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Welcome. Fade to Black. Bespoke Radio. For the masses. Yeah, man, how you doing? How you doing? Today's Monday, January 25th, 2021. 25 days into the new year. Only 340 days left. We are live from a bunker somewhere in the middle of beautiful downtown Burbank, California. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? All right. What a great week. I say that every Monday, right? What a great week. Coming up on Fade to Black tonight, An0maly is here. That's right. An0maly is here, joining us for a full night of conspiracy theory and its effect on the masses. You know, and I like to think that I'm at the center of the known universe. An0maly is. I'm just visiting. An0maly is here tonight. I can't wait for this conversation. Tomorrow night. Are you ready for this? Tomorrow night, here on Fade to Black, Roy Firestone. Roy Firestone. And I know what you're thinking. You just sat back and went, what did Jimmy just say? Roy Firestone? Yes, the Roy Firestone is here tomorrow night. And very excited about that. And this is the thing. Roy, as we all know, who has interviewed thousands and thousands of athletes and celebrities and filmmakers and politicians. He's interviewed everybody. Considered one of the best at the interview game. And tomorrow night, he is going to be interviewed. And I'm not so sure, and I tried to check this out, I'm not so sure if he's done an interview like this, a long-form interview and conversation. He's on the other side tomorrow night. Roy Firestone is here. Very excited about that. And Wednesday night, Zadok Ra Osiris joins us for the first time, too, as well. And I'm very interested in this conversation. And Zadok will be part of our Conscious Life Expo presentation next month. And he joins us this Wednesday. And then, of course, Thursday is another Fader night with open lines all night long. We've got an amazing week lined up next week, too. Whoa. You know, it just gets better and better and better around here. So there you go. That's our week this week here on Fade to Black. Somebody, I'm going to go back and look. I might be able to pull it off before the end of the show tonight. I will certainly line it up tomorrow. Momo is here. He's not here at the moment, but he is close by. Rita, if you're listening, can you bring Momo into the bunker for me? I literally I left him next to the coffee machine. All right, I just came clean. I came rushing into the studio 2 minutes before showtime and sat down, had to catch my breath, and I left Momo by the coffee machine. He needs his coffee too. But Momo is here. Speaking of Momo, what I was just going to say, somebody had just posted a really cool crystal skull that they just got from Caroline Ford. And just an incredible skull. And but I'll post, if I can pull it off, I'll post the picture in Twitter tonight before the end of the show. If you want your own crystal skull, that's right. A crystal skull that has sat down and visited with Einstein. You've got to go to EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. The links are over at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Okay, use the promo code Jimmy, 10% off of your order today. Also, the Conscious Life Expo, which is February 19th through the 21st, going down next month. An amazing presentation that we've got set up. I'll be hosting all weekend long, Friday through Sunday, and lots of amazing things going on. One of the highlights, though, for me personally, will be on Saturday night. I'll be sitting down with Richard Dolan live for a one-on-one interview, and that'll be going down Saturday night. Go to ConsciousLifeExpo.com so you can get your passes, get everything set up, get lined up. Lots of really cool things going down there. And also, you can create your own avatar and head out to the mall and go visit the vendors and things. And I believe I will have the Jimmy avatar set up. So if you see me running around, you can come up and say hello, right? So very cool. For the first time, I don't think it's ever been done like this. Lots of really cool things for this virtual version of the Conscious Life Expo this year. Okay? All right. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Lots of really cool things that were going down on social media this weekend for me personally. And Bernie, wow, that took off. Started last week. And Rita, it was really weird. I'm not saying it was us. It was the internet. But I think everybody kind of had the same idea at the same time. And it was really funny. I got the text from Rita, and she said too soon. And, with her Bernie. And I said, no, this is funny. This is cool. And it just took off. So today got the Tommy's, original Tommy's burger. Went to Tommy's this morning. I had some stuff I had to go and do. And I was coming back, and there's Tommy's. I was like, oh, man, it's cold. It's cold in Southern California. It's been raining. It's raining now. I just want a Tommy's burger, chili cheeseburger with grilled onions. I just got to do it. It'll warm me up. It'll do. I called Rita. She goes, you better be at Tommy's. And I got there 15 minutes late. My original goal was the Tommy's breakfast burritos, which, so I missed those. I couldn't pull that off, but we did the chili cheeseburgers. So Bernie made it in to Tommy's today. So much fun. So much fun. Let's see. Not that your ego needs to be any bigger, but yeah, the hair works for me. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, so today I cut off the COVID hair. And the same lady has cut my hair for 13 years, long time. And she cut my hair last year in 2020. It's been that long. And she's no longer in her salon. The salons have been closed down. They're opening back up. We'll see what happens there. But anyway, so today, right, my hair was 1.5 feet long. It was way up. And it all came crashing down. So it's the old me. There you go. I'm back. I've got a bunch of stuff that I'm doing over the next month, and I had to get rid of the COVID hair. So there you go. All right, follow me on Twitter. Twitter was a lot of fun this weekend. We had a little get-together over at the house. I think some pictures were posted. Really needed to do that. Just a few friends over. But we started cooking probably at about 2 in the afternoon. And we cooked all day, inside and outside, all the way through. And I think we went to about 1 o'clock in the morning. And just to have friends over, for those friends to get out of their houses, right? And to get together, we needed it so bad. We had so much fun. So that a lot of that stuff got posted up on Twitter too as well. We just had a great weekend. I'm in a good mood. All right. Where am I at? Email is jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. You know, Twitter @jchurchradio. Let's get to the breaking news. Apple is warning customers that its smartphones could interfere with medical devices, including pacemakers. Now, if you've got a pacemaker, a defib, anything like that, defib, anything like that, listen to this. In a notice just published on Apple's support page, the company warned users that iPhones contain magnets, they contain radios, and they all emit electromagnetic fields, both of which may interfere with medical devices such as implanted pacemakers and defibrillators. Also buried in the recent Apple notice, and it's there and you can read it, was a warning to keep your credit cards away from your iPhone 12, something that we pretty much already knew. If you've ever checked into a hotel, you get your key, right? And you're just walking to the room and the key is, next to your phone. You get to your room, it doesn't work. All right. We all know this. All right. Also announced today, California Governor Gavin Newsom and state health officials ended the state's regional COVID stay-at-home order today, saying the latest projections for intensive care unit capacity allowed the restrictions to be lifted. The order applied to Southern California, where we are, the San Joaquin Valley, and the Bay Area regions, which are home to more than 90% of the state's population of 39 million people. Newsom, if you don't know this, right now Newsom is in the middle of a massive recall campaign to remove him from office. And he insists that the lifting of the COVID restrictions is not a political decision. Yeah, right. Budweiser announced today that it won't run a Super Bowl ad during the February 7th contest between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It is the first time in 37 years that the beer company won't have a Super Bowl ad. Coke and Pepsi are skipping the Super Bowl as well. Each commercial during the Super Bowl runs about $5.5 million. And companies right now just don't want to spend the money. Pepsi won't run commercials, but will sponsor the halftime show. All right, let's get the show cracking. Happy birthday to today, the one and only South Gang frontman Jesse Hart. Today is 52. Our dead guy's birthday today is Stig Anderson, 1931 to 1997. Stig was a music manager, lyricist, and music publisher. He was the co-founder of Polar Music and is best known for managing ABBA. Sting may have been ABBA's manager, but he also co-wrote many of their lyrics, among them Waterloo, Mamma Mia, SOS, Dancing Queen, Knowing Me, Knowing You, and The Name of the Game. He wrote a bunch of others. Sometimes referred to as the fifth member of ABBA, Anderson also owned the band's record label and publishing company. Stig made a groundbreaking deal for record sales in the Soviet Union, which ABBA recordings were released in exchange for barrels of oil. Let that sink in for a moment, seriously. On September 12, 1997, at the age of 66, Stig died of a heart attack. His funeral was broadcast live on Swedish television. On this day in history, 1980 went down. Paul McCartney is released from a Tokyo jail and deported from Japan after being caught in customs with a half a pound of weed, the Mary Jane. He said it was too good to flush down the toilet before he got on the plane flying to Japan. He just couldn't part with the half pound of weed, so he decided to take it with him and take a chance. The 11-city tour with his band Wings was canceled, and the band broke up by the time he returned to England. Fader fact. In 1950, now check this out. In 1950, an Austrian psychology researcher, Professor Theodor Erisman of the University of Innsbruck, had his assistant wear a pair of goggles that turned the world upside down. By the 10th day, everything looked normal. Everything looked right side up. How crazy is that? That is your Fader fact. Look it up. Professor Theodor Erisman. All right. Tonight, very special guest, An0maly, joins us. We're going to be talking about conspiracy theory and its effect on the masses. Tomorrow night, the one and only, seriously, Roy Firestone is right here on Fade to Black. Wednesday night, it's Zadok Ra Osiris. And again, another first-time guest this week. Thursday's another Fader night with open lines all night long. All right. Let me hit this River Moon coffee. rivermoonwellness.com. All of the links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. Promo code F2BBLEND. Go 15% off of your order. All of our Black Moon CBD products are over there. You want to know about this bunny face? It's that Black Moon. It's that Black Moon. You've got to get some. You do. Head right over rivermoonwellness.com. All right. Here we go. Hey, Jeff A., have a legitimate question for you. Is Parler still down? Oh, God. Asking for a friend. That's funny, Johnny. That's funny. I think so, actually. I haven't checked. They're out of the news right now. All right. The United States is leading rivals in development and the use of artificial intelligence, while China is rising quickly and the European Union is lagging behind in third place. And all of this revealed today in research in a report. Now, the study by the Information Technology and Innovation Foundation assessed AI using 30 separate metrics, including human talent, research activity, commercial development and investment in hardware and software. The United States still leads with an overall score of 44.6 points on a 100-point scale, followed by China at 32 and the European Union with 23.3. And all of this is based on 2020 data statistics. The researchers found the United States leading in key areas such as investment in startups and research and development funding. Now, China has more of the world's 500 most powerful supercomputers than any other nation, 214, compared with 113 for the United States and 91 for all of the EU. Now, putting supercomputers and investments aside, the real fact is that artificial intelligence is running our world, your world, right now. Listen, I know that everyone wants to equate AI with the T-1000, Skynet, and robots taking over the world. And although that is and should be a real concern, and it could happen, AI is here and now, and is working night and day to improve without food, without water, without sleep. You and every member of your family and everyone else on this planet is in a database, being analyzed, studied, marketed, utilized. Why? Because it's easy. That's right. Think about it. Software, code, doesn't need any rest, sleep, or motivation to focus on you. Just you. All day, every day, every single second. AI knows more about you than you do. Every single person in the United States, from 1 minute old after being born to the oldest, is studied, calculated, and valued. The entire database of everyone here in the United States, the entire database of everyone, is in the hands of many companies. Everybody. Perhaps hundreds of companies. Plus, every single federal agency, every state agency, and all of it, including you, is scrubbed, scraped, and monitored. AI is working overtime, and it's never getting paid. It's never late for work, and it never takes a vacation. It gossips, though. A lot. Right now, during this rant, Americans used 4,416,720 gigabytes of internet data, including 188 million emails, 18,100,000 texts, and 4,497,420 Google searches every single minute. Skype users make 231,840 calls, and people are tweeting out their thoughts at 511,220 tweets per minute. App downloads are on the rise. App downloads, 450,030 per minute just in the United States. Instagram, 300,000 photos uploaded per minute. Tinder swipes at 1,600,000 per minute. Facebook sign-ins, 1,200,000 per minute. Right now, as I speak to you, 1.7 megabytes of data will be created every second for every person on Earth. If the data you created for yourself about you and updated to your personal file was printed on a piece of paper in 10-point type today and was stacked up in a pile with all of the other data collected on every other person on this planet, it would reach to Mars and back every single day. And AI generated it all. It modified it. It studied it. And it has remembered it. Don't worry. You haven't been lost in the system. They know who you are. They won't forget or lose your paperwork. It ain't going to happen. They know how to mess with your head, too, to steer you in any direction they want. And you'll never know it was coming. You thought it was you making that decision on your next pair of socks with the cool smiley faces on them. Your sock purchase was planned months in advance. Now, am I trying to scare you? No, I am not. Not at all. This is just the world that we live in today. Skynet caught up to us when we weren't looking. I'm just letting you know that this is reality. This is not make-believe. This is not some crazy science fiction novel. It is not. So the race to AI, the one that gets to artificial general intelligence first, is going to rule the world. Everybody else is the loser. There is a race on. That's what they want you to believe. The fact is, AI today, right now, runs you, runs the world, and creates your life. This is Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, right here, An0maly. And we are going to be talking about conspiracy theory all night tonight and its effect on the masses. Now, An0maly has over 2 million social media followers. I think he's got his finger on the pulse of what is going on. Tomorrow night, the one and only Roy Firestone is here. Wednesday night, Zadok Ra Osiris. Thursday night is another Fader night with open lines all night long. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Email, simple, Jimmy@JimmyChurchRadio.com. I'll be right back with An0maly after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Nicole Church, daughter of you-know-who, and you're listening to Fade to Black on JimmyChurchRadio.com and the Game Changer Network.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Introducing the Game Changer blend from River Moon Coffee that delivers a customized blend made specifically for the Fadernauts. If the game is rigged, change the game. It's a bolder cup with some bite. Game Changer is the coffee of choice for those that prefer an organic dark roast that is slightly lighter and milder, but it's still dark. With wild notes of pecans and chocolate with a rich, balanced, full-bodied cup that is roasted to perfection for a great coffee to start your day, as an after-dinner coffee or anywhere in between. Artisan, small batch roasted to perfection. USDA certified organic, all River Moon coffee is freshly roasted and packaged in the USA. Just go to rivermooncoffee.com or click on the banners over on our site and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. rivermooncoffee.com. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can get our podcast for just $2 per month. All you have to do is click on the podcast banner over at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Hi, folks. It's troubling times, and fear is pushing emotions, which in turn pushes health the wrong direction. Do you ever get an ache because life is uneasy? Try Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. Life Change Tea works on your digestive tract, helping to move food through quicker and comfortably so your health is spot on. Life Change Tea may not help with world issues, but it will help with your digestive issues. A glass a day helps keep the intruders away. So, change your life today. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. If your health game is off, get on by ordering Life Change Tea. GetTheTea.com. And while you're on our site, look around at the great non-GMO organic supplements. And if you're a sales shopper, go to our specials page and see what's for you. I've been drinking the tea for 12 years and I'm sure glad for its health benefits. Again, that's GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. The tea that makes you go.
Fadernauts. When you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from An0maly, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Matthew, and you're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, An0maly is here. What a great week we've got lined up. Tomorrow night, the one and only Roy Firestone. That's right. ESPN's Up Close with Roy Firestone. The Roy Firestone. I'm looking at An0maly's face right here. He just went, what? Yep, that's right. Roy Firestone tomorrow night. Wednesday night, Zadok Ra Osiris. And also visiting me here in the studio is Momo. Check that out, An0maly. Is that cool? That's cool. That's Momo, everybody. We posted pictures. Here he is, and gifted to me this weekend. Look at that face. Look at this face. That's what I'm talking about. So there's Momo. Heavy. All right. So we'll just put Momo right here. He can watch the show tonight. All right. Here we go. Tonight, it's An0maly. New Jersey raised. West Virginia affiliated. California living. An0maly is a groundbreaking news analyst, hip-hop artist, video producer, and creative visionary. Combining elements of spirituality, philosophy, and real life, An0maly has become a leading voice of this generation, as well as a legendary, yeah, that's right, rapper and poet. And right now, I think I don't want to embarrass him, but I think the number is a couple of million followers on social media. So I'm going to say it again. He's got his finger on the pulse of this generation. I would like to welcome back to Fade to Black, An0maly. An0maly, how are you, man?
Fantastic. Thanks for having me.
You look great. Love the hat. Go ahead. Say it.
Oh, just as God is great. The hat. Yeah. Yeah. They're my own. I make them. Well, I don't actually knit them. That sounds like I'm in my room knitting them, but they're all made in the USA. It's at dreamrare.com, but it's too early for the plug, but you set me up. You're like, I like your hat. I'm like, don't. Yeah, I hand knitted it. It took me 5 hours. No, I'm just kidding. Thanks for having me, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's good to see you. And we missed each other this year. Obviously, everybody missed everybody. I haven't seen you in a while. This is cool that we can do this virtually tonight. You look great. Are you hanging in there?
Yeah, life is good. I'm, trying to make the most of it. I think crazy year, definitely, even for the strongest of the strong. The social isolation, a lot of probably the one year that makes me and you look even better than ever. A year where the entire world turns into a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, that's right. And this is the thing. Let's back up for a second. We did have a chance to hang out, and I'll just tell everybody. It was at the NAMM show, and we did some stuff with a friend of ours and did some interviews together, and we were able to hang out, walk around, and visit, some different manufacturers and check out some cool guitars and things. But we got a chance to hang out. And this is the thing for me, is that you have your feet on the ground. You are very intelligent, but you are also very, very concerned. And you have an open mind. It's kind of a dangerous thing where you have a large social media following, you have an open mind, you have to keep yourself in check too as well about what you say, because you can influence a lot of people. Do you find yourself doing just that? like thinking about what you're going to say because you don't want to upset anybody or send anybody in the wrong direction?
Yeah, I definitely, with my main videos, I really carefully try to research and make sure everything's source-based and fact-checked. And I'm not talking about the fake fact-checkers online, but, really, I don't want to give out false information. So I feel like I really check, and that's why the videos go well, because a lot of people are very loose with it. But I also do live streams, and I think I'm a little looser in the lives, and I'm funnier. So I don't know, a joke to somebody can offend someone else. So I try to be as careful as possible and as factual as possible, but I definitely get pretty loose on the lives and just kind of get goofy sometimes just for fun.
I watch all of your stuff. You know this. And I find it refreshing and alarming at the same time. And what I mean by that is you will always be very straight. Sometimes even your own followers, they don't want the straight news, right? They don't want, right? They want to hear something else. And when you give it to them straight, are you concerned about your reputation? Suddenly you lose 500,000 followers because you weren't speaking what they wanted to hear.
I'm not too worried about that, but what you said was kind of like that one meme where they have all the people lined up on the one side and it says convenient lie. And then you have the other side, the guy's got the booth that says inconvenient truth, and he's, by himself. So it reminds me of that. And anytime it's involved with politics, news, people treat it like a sports game. So if you, say something to their team, they don't like to hear it. But I'm not too concerned because I feel like, although, of course, I dabble into certain fields, I built the audience off of, being able to challenge both sides. And I think one of the appealing things early on was the fact that I wasn't talking like someone who was just talking to one side. I was like, listen, I've been over here. I've been over here. This is why I feel that way. So I'm not too concerned. The backlash can get a little annoying sometimes, I'm sure, as you can feel. But overall, people leave, people come. But I don't notice that big of a drop in the numbers because I don't think I'm a one-trick pony. I didn't corner myself in, luckily, and it's a great place to be when you're able to, not have to lie or feel like you can't say something.
Yeah. Do you have when you have as many followers as you do you have a grasp on the demographics, ages, party affiliations, religions, belief systems? Do you have any sense of what is going on?
I do. I don't check it that much because I'm self-managed. So every now and then I'll look at it. I think the last time I looked at it, the fifth biggest demographic or the sixth was Nigeria, which I was kind of pumped about. Just, it was interesting. I was like, all right, we got a lot of people out in Nigeria paying attention. But yeah, I could look at it. I have a slight grasp, but I just pump out content. I don't really work with any marketing people, so I don't check it too much. I'm just like, focused on the videos, but I could look over it and tell you sometime.
Well, the reason why I'm asking is, so when you do a presentation, do you ever consciously focus at a demographic, or are you just speaking from An0maly's point of view?
Yeah, definitely just from my point of view. I'm trying to be broad as far as make it make sense to the people maybe who need to hear it the most, but I kind of just say it. And I've noticed, I think my target is like maybe 25 to 34, but I have 80-year-olds, 90-year-olds, even people tell me their 15-year-old kids watch me and stuff, which then kind of makes me nervous because like most of the time I'm clean and family friendly, but I'm also, sometimes I have fun. I also rap as well. I actually feel really bad. I'm not a bad influence, but I'm like, okay, it's kind of you wouldn't talk to a 15-year-old the same way you talk to an 80-year-old, the same way you talk to your friend, like hanging out, having a drink. So I kind of just be myself, and it brings all that in, but it is kind of, I'm like, all right, it makes me want to really be cleaner than ever because I'm like, grandma's watching. Let's calm down here, Jimmy.
Well, and another thing that I find really cool is we have a lot of crossover with our audience. Big chunk of Fade to Black is listening to you. Big chunk of An0maly is coming over here visiting us. And I see the chatter all the time. An0maly says, and I've seen chatter on yours, and I think that is really cool. But this is the problem, right? There's always a paradox. There's always a but. But our audiences are free thinkers, just like you and I. They're out there seeking knowledge, right? And we also get into conspiracy theory. We talk about aliens and Bigfoot and life after death and Egypt and time travel, the conspiracy of politics. We dabble in that. Conspiracy theory in general. There's so many conspiracies out there. Many are real. They're not necessarily conspiracy theories anymore. But our audience can deal with it. They can. They understand, right, about it. The rest of the country doesn't necessarily have the tools to deal with conspiracy theory, do they?
No, and you get it from both sides. What they call normies, like the normie where they just I'll give you a quick one. I was with someone recently and they said, "Are you an anti-vaxxer?" And I'm not, I wouldn't call myself that, but I was like, no, I wouldn't say that. And then I said, "Did you know this? No. Did you know this? No. Did you know this?" So it's like they're quick to label anything that they don't know, where I'm like, I just did a lot of research and I talk about Operation Warp Speed, which is the new mRNA vaccine. I don't really give my opinion sometimes, but I'm like, this is what it is. This is where the funding comes from. Most people don't know that. So there's the normie type that just thinks everything's crazy, like even the most basic. I mean, we got locked inside for a year. Like, did that not put off a bell in somebody's head one way or the other? And then you have, people who are so knee deep in certain ideas where they're not open at all. They're 100% sure about something that they're probably not really 100% sure about. So, I think I get it from both sides. The normies and this is my thing, I'm sticking to it. Anybody who disagrees with me is like the biggest shill in the world or whatever.
Yeah, so today I was talking to you as I was going to get my hair cut, right? And we had that conversation. So I get there. And the lady that cuts my hair, she's cut my hair for 13 years. I know her really well, right? And so she goes, "So Jimmy, out of the blue, just out of nowhere, so what do you think of this vaccine?" And I'm like, there is no right answer. I don't even know where to go, right? It's cool, right? And waiting for her reaction, or it's not cool. I would never do it. Wait for her reaction. There's no correct answer there. She set me up, right? You know what I mean? And just out of the blue, these are concerns of everybody. Were you surprised? You and I, was it last year you and I hung out?
Probably 2 years ago.
Was that 2 years?
Last year. We were at not just NAMM, but there was another sort of festival. You were speaking at it on a conference. I'm not sure. It was you remember it was like by the airport or something in LA?
Conscious Life Expo.
Yeah, that was cool. You were a superstar there. Every 2 steps, they said, "Jimmy, Jimmy, Jimmy." I was like, oh, this is his domain.
Oh, man. You were wearing a Fade to Black shirt. So
I have the hat still, too. I have the signed hat.
So anyway, were you surprised how quickly not only the United States, but the world went down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole?
I guess, yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think 2016, the election woke both sides up. You had Bernie, Trump kind of, turning on a light bulb. And then I think, built, people started learning the internet. And then the lockdowns, I think, that must have woke a lot of people up, because how many different types of people talked about FEMA camps, martial law, all these sort of for 20 years, 30 years. That's always the craziest thing. And then I won't say it's a full martial law, but almost all of those things to an extent happened. And the next thing you know, we're all on a lockdown and quarantine. These are crazy terms. So I think that had to wake a lot of people up, where it's like, whoa, this is weird.
Yeah, and it was like hook, line, and sinker. It doesn't matter where he was, because there were hundreds, if not thousands, in 2020 that were laid out there. And no longer were we fighting the fight, like you're saying right here. How long, how many years were we out there talking about this stuff? Nobody would listen. Now everybody was listening, and it happened almost overnight, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it built up. That had to help. And then now you have, with the internet, with social isolation, now people are kind of in their echo chambers where there's so many theories, maybe more than ever, and people are all over the place. But yeah, I think the lockdown had to be like a catalyst to some extent.
Were you okay? Let's talk about. You did a video. I don't know if it was last week or the week before, but you did a video where you had to. I don't know if it was you suggesting to your audience. I'm speaking slowly because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but you were throwing your audience a softball, right? A little underarm pitch, just like, okay, look, things got crazy. They may not have gone the way that you were hoping they would. Most of them didn't, if not all of it. Now we've got to start to figure stuff out, right? I mean, you had to do that in a way because some people are on the edge of the cliff, right? You've got to talk them back. How did you approach that video? You didn't have to do it, by the way. You know that.
Yeah, I'm passionate about it because I think, for example, during the lockdowns, maybe March, April, May, when everything shut down, I was doing reporting on some of the numbers, this and that, and it just wasn't adding up. You know, the ends weren't justifying the means. It wasn't what they were saying it was. I was crunching death rate numbers, and I knew even before they lowered it, I knew it was lower just based off like the math they were doing. I was getting attacked by people on my own side saying, hey, shut up about that. And I was like, why? They're like, we think the lockdowns are a good idea. We think it's good because everyone's going to get arrested when the country locks down. So I started to see that there were certain conspiracy movements that were like so intolerant to me just doing basic reporting like I've always done. And I think it built where there's always been people who were sure about stuff, but maybe combined with the lockdown, combined with the emotions of politics, a big election, all this stuff, maybe the country on the line to a lot of people, like this is make or break for the whole world. A lot of people spiraled, and I think they went all in certain things. And, I see the way certain people operate, and it's like they kind of move the goalposts. I think a lot of the, like the CDC types kind of did that, where it's like you beat that goal, they do that goal. They say, hey, when the vaccine's here, we're going to let you out. And then the vaccine comes, they say, hey, actually, maybe not yet, wear a mask. And then today, for I think the first time in 2 years, all the health experts are saying wear 2 masks. It's like if 2 masks made more sense, why you couldn't figure that out in April? They move the goalposts. Every time you meet their destination, they move it. And that's been happening in the conspiracy world too, where it's just, I didn't have to do it, but it's been annoying me where I'm like, listen, think what you want to think, believe what you want to believe, have an open mind. We never know, there's a lot out there, but some of these theories are just sloppy. And like, even when they're proven wrong, they just never give up, which is, I've never seen it before.
Did you just say sloppy?
Yeah, just a sloppy theory, like just not, it's like, I don't know. I'm not impressed. It's like probably you, say you're on a panel and there's 5 people talking about aliens. You probably got one where you're like, I think I trust that person. And then the other one's like, I don't know about that guy, like
why? And this is the thing. And you just touched upon probably what is most important. Is it just a money thing? Is it just clicks? I'm talking about the people creating these conspiracy theories and that are pushing them. Is it just about trying to be famous? Is it trying to get clicks? Is it monetization? Is this YouTube views? Why keep it going? Why reinvent? You and I talked about this last week. We talked about some specifics, which we can get into. I have no issues with that. But it's just like when it could be over, you've got to keep it going. Why do it? Is it money? Is it clicks? Is it notoriety?
Yeah, it's hard to tell. And I try to, if I don't know for sure, I can't say. But I will say, if you ask me, are you afraid of losing your audience? If you say something too honest, there could be a lot of backlash. I've built it on, even like I've done really tough reporting both ways over the last couple of years, to the left and to the right. And I've seen a little blowback, but I think that's why a lot of people respected me. Some of these other channels, their whole was like, this is going to happen. So when it doesn't happen, they have 2 options, I think. Apologize and say, hey, maybe I didn't know as much as I thought I knew, or just kick the can down the road and say, you know what? Just wait till March, or just wait till April. And then like, it's like the pastor. I always say the pastor who says the rapture is coming on January 56, or not, maybe 56, I don't know, 21st. And then it doesn't come. Like, it's okay if you made a mistake, but then what do they just like move the date to next year or something? Like, oh, I had a miscalculation, not this. So it's that kind of theory. Maybe they're egotistical. Maybe they want the money. They don't want to lose their audience. A lot of people got caught up in it. And some, I have my suspicions about certain things, but it's weird because there's certain things where you're like, all right, when this happens, it's so clearly they were wrong, they'll apologize, but they just never do. So certain accounts and stuff.
I saw a post. I'm not going to say who, it doesn't matter. I literally saw this posted. Trust the plan. Biden is our guy. It was supposed to be this way all along. Now, I'm reading now, and this is the thing. I see that, and I'm reading the comments underneath it, and I would say that 99% are saying yes. They were agreeing with it. A few said, I'm out. I'm done, right? But it's kicking the can down the road, right? I mean, how can trust the plan? We're going to conspiracy theory stuff here. How can trust the plan, Biden is our guy, fit the narrative of the last 2 years? How is that possible? How can you spin that story?
It's nuts because a lot of these guys I debated back in 2018 because I saw what they're doing. I was like, listen, we have a lot of overlap. I agree with you guys on a lot of what you're talking about. But I saw the move they were going. They were talking about blackouts, martial law. And I said, just like people like Bill Cooper, like some legends, everybody was like, hey, when big government comes, martial law, like that's probably not a good thing. Like if they go military lockdown, quarantine, that's not a conspiracy theory's dream. That's like the nightmare. And they flipped it. So they took like a decades old theory that was like pretty well known by everybody and inverted it to say good is bad, bad is good, trust the plan. So I debated them in 2018, and they all told me, Trump's going to win. He's going to do it before 2018, 2019. I have the video still. I made a whole compilation of every time they guessed wrong. And then they said on the 6th, this is going to happen. It didn't. On the 20th, this is going to happen. And like you said, I can't believe that so many people still believe it, where it's like, as soon as Biden got in, they went from he's going to get arrested on the inside to he might be our trigger guy. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And people still buy it because they really want to believe that happy ending. But, I've been saying on my page, I think America in general, it's a great country. We have great people. We're still better off than a lot of the world, but we made a lot of mistakes. So it's like telling someone to take a skinny pill. It's like, no, if I want to lose weight, I got to work out. I got to eat better. That's the hard truth. Like telling someone to take a pill, it's a temporary solution. It's the same thing. It's like telling, 3 generations who probably could have not made so many mistakes, hey, I'll solve it for you. There's a secret plan. Like, no, we have to do it. Collectively, our communities stand up against tyranny. So it's become dangerous to me in that sense. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just like, if we think this way for 5 years, it's not going to help the conspiracy movement, truther movement, freedom movement. It's going to make us all look really dumb and, just kick the can down the road.
Yeah, and I don't think smarter words have ever been spoken. It's not going to be a conspiracy theory that saves us. It's going to be us. It's going to be us. It's going to be us.
At the Capitol event, a lot of people tried to guilt me into going. Like if you don't go to the Capitol, you're not a patriot. I didn't go because I had a bad feeling about it in general and for another reason. But anyway, it happens. And everybody told me that, this person's getting locked up. It ended up being the people who went there to rally who got locked up. And most of them that went inside are getting, bought by the FBI. I'm like, Biden didn't get arrested. You guys got arrested. Like, it's so clear, but they still don't get it. And now they've justified, this is the worst part, they've justified a new use of the Patriot Act to now label half the country domestic terrorists. So they fell for the trap, and now they're going to use it. Anybody who opposes the government, they're going to say, oh, remember that? So they're flipping it and arresting patriots. And now, it's like they set us all up for failure, and they're like, don't disagree with me. I'm like, no, now you're screwed. If I would have went there, I'd probably be arrested by the FBI. Like, that's how bad you guys screwed up.
Would you debate somebody on this? I'm talking about on the street, right? What if you would have went to the Capitol event and somebody these questions started coming up? You're live streaming, you're doing your thing. Would you stand up against would you try to help somebody out and clear their mind, is what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's maybe the worst part about social media is everyone's in their echo chamber, left, right, this conspiracy, that conspiracy. And some people just don't like to overlap. I like to hear, people who disagree with me. A lot of people don't. On the street, it's way easier. I could be meaner on Twitter. A lot of people are meaner on Twitter, and Instagram comments, they say something snarky. When you're face to face with someone, it's way harder to do that, and it's more human. It's an anonymous page. I feel like I'm talking to a guy, I'm talking to a grandma, and she's got a nice little sweater on. So yeah, it's way better talking to people in person, and a lot of times you come to better conclusions. So yeah, I'd love that, as long as they weren't too crazy.
I just feel that you can't, the disinformation campaign on both sides has been so successful that I don't know how we can talk people back. And I'm being very serious. The Democratic side, or there is no, you know what? I just used the wrong word. There is a chunk of this country that feels that MAGA is a cult. They've been convinced of that, right? The word cult. And then on the other, there's another half of this country that feels that communism and socialism is now taking over the country, and the military is involved. It's a very effective disinfo campaign, and you're not going to be able to talk somebody out of it. They believe what they believe.
You nailed it. No, absolutely. So, I grew up in the schools and stuff, so I get the left, and, there's so much media, school, education. Like, I get that. And then even I get the right side, too. But that's really what it is. Team red, team blue. And, they figured out how to take advantage of both. One of the things when they did catch foreign countries doing like propaganda stuff, of course, a lot of it was nonsense. It was just the media smearing people. But one thing they caught them doing, I thought it was like funny because it's kind of a nothing burger, but they were like, they're in Pokemon Go changing names to Black Lives Matter. It's so dumb, but really like China, Russia, even, people, bad actors for hundreds of years, they've always known America's multicultural. So one of the easiest ways to divide is race, just like politics. So they use these things to exploit. And if there's a movement where it's successful, doing well, you got to be very careful and skeptical because they're going to jump all over that, or they're going to put someone in there to steer you. Who knows? At the Capitol, one of the guys that led people to the Capitol was like a PSYOPs officer, a military officer. Like, this was mainstream reporting. They were like, a PSYOPs military reporter led people from, and I'm like, why would he be there? So it's like, I'm sure a lot of people were good people, but there's going to be bad actors like, hey, follow me over this way, and it's like, everyone's like, yeah, this guy's a patriot. It's like, that's not our guy, just head on a swivel, folks. This ain't the little leagues anymore.
Let's take a break right here. Our guest tonight, An0maly. An0maly is here. I can't wait for the rest of this conversation. You guys stay right there. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. This is Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Maybe I'll get An0maly to talk some Bigfoot. We'll do some Bigfoot. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station, Salt Lake City, Utah, Van Buren, Arkansas.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I'm a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to forbiddenknowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, forbiddenknowledge.tv. Again, visit forbiddenknowledge.tv today.
Listen, I know, and you know, that you've always wanted your first crystal skull. Or maybe you're a collector just like me, but you just don't know where to go to find the real thing. Then I met Carolyn Ford over at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. Carolyn is the guardian of Einstein, one of the most respected ancient crystal skulls in the world. All of her unique skulls have been imprinted sitting with Einstein in his sacred lodge and are carved from the finest gemstone and materials. Imprinting is the process of receiving the ancient wisdom from the master skull or master computer, Einstein the Ancient Crystal Skull. To see Carolyn's current collection of crystal skulls, just visit her store at EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com or click on the banner over on our site. Don't forget to use the promo code Jimmy at checkout to receive 10% off of your order today. That's promo code Jimmy. Finding your first or next crystal skull is easy. Just visit EinsteinTheCrystalSkull.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of fade to black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Yes, Rivermoon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from Rivermoon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hello, I'm Katie, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA Digital Broadcast Station.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier. And this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. We are also Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and you can become an official Fadernaut by just going to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com.
Hello, this is Serena Wright Taylor from Conscious Life Expo, and you're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church, who holds the Lucky Pony record for the best astrological chart since 1963. True story.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight, An0maly is here. Tomorrow night, Roy Firestone. Wednesday night, Zadok Ra Osiris. Also here for the first time. Thursday night's another Fader night with open lines all night long. Tonight, An0maly is here, and we're talking about conspiracy theory and the effects that they can have on the masses right now. And I'm going to go straight there, An0maly, with you. QAnon. No Q post for months. a very strange situation for a movement that seemingly came out of nowhere, and then in a couple of years got a pretty good foothold. As strange as it was, JFK, going to join the campaign trail and show up in Houston, whatever. But I know, right? But what is going to happen, to all of those out there? I mean, they have to somehow resolve things. What do you see?
Yeah, I thought when, Biden got in office, it would pretty much be a wrap. I knew there'd be some leftover, but it seems like it's steaming even heavier because people really want to believe Trump has a comeback. So, I saw it from 2018 to 2019. It was tough talking to because obviously there's a lot of real information in there. They're waking a lot of people up to crazy things like human trafficking. So people are really emotionally invested. But then, you have these posts that say disinfo is necessary. So the main decoders on YouTube and BitChute and everything, they're telling people, well, this is real, but this isn't. But I'm not really sure because I don't know what's real and what's not. So if it happens, it's real. And if it doesn't, it's disinfo. And it's just like scrambling people's brains. It's okay to know that you don't know, but I saw it always as like a mind control matrix. I'm like, they said, trust Jeff Sessions, trust Christopher Wray. And then when it doesn't happen and those people turn on the Trump administration, they say, oh, that was the disinfo. So it's like a fortune cookie puzzle game for adults or something, a treasure hunt. And I saw it and I'm like, man, they had all these theories of, Trump pulling it off before the election. But these decoders, these people, if you go to Rumble or BitChute, which is like the offshoot of YouTube, great websites, by the way, great owners. The top 3, 4, 5 videos are these type of accounts, even though the election's over. They just know how to turn on a dime. It's incredible. And just say, well, you know what I just told you yesterday? They just move right on and say, actually, it's going to happen this way. Maybe Biden's our guy. Maybe in March, Trump gets in the real inauguration. And then what's going to happen in March when Trump doesn't get inaugurated, because that's not going to happen? Then they're going to move the goalposts again and be like, we got to win. And it's like a forever sort of thing. And it really sucks because it's like, obviously there's some good work in there, just like in anything. Nothing's black or white, but it's such a trap. It's such a mind control matrix. And I saw it all last year. People loved the lockdown, and normal libertarians who would be like, hey, I don't agree with government overreach. They're like, you know what? I do agree with government overreach now because I believe that the government's on my side. I think that, that there's a military plan. And yeah, it's weird because I always saw the good and the bad. And I felt like the bad started overweighing the good last year. And this year, it's just like a whole new level where I got a lot of messages like, you finally made me think, thank you. But then some yoga teachers spiraling at me. And I love yoga teachers. Don't get me wrong. I like yoga as well. But
all right.
It's like, An0maly, you shill. I knew it. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, when a yoga teacher, Reiki, yeah, exactly. Wait, let me back up for a second. I don't want to get lost here. Did you just say that there is going to be another inauguration in March?
Yeah, there's not going to be, but that's
I'm saying
that's what they're saying. There's two theories they're floating around. Biden's the trigger guy, and they're trying to say there's a second constitution. And, there's going to be a second inauguration in March. So the March is just another day. It's nuts because in April, I saw the lockdown and people told me, just wait till the election. And then the election came and they told me, An0maly, Trump's got to pull this off. Just wait till January. I waited till just wait till January 6th. After January 6th, you could talk about this. After January 6th, they said, just wait till January 20th. Okay. And then you talk about it. Once January 20th came, that's when I made the video. People said, why didn't you make it before? I talked about it before, but I felt like that'd be an appropriate time. Not because I know I'm right now, just because I thought people could handle it better after the election. And now they're saying, just wait till March. It's unbelievable. Yeah. I've never seen anything like it. And when it doesn't happen in March, because I'm not talking, I have insiders, this and that, but they left the White House. Trump just today, he did like a former US president thing. The dude is not the president. He's, if anything, maybe he'll run in 4 years or something, but it's just nutty. They never stop. And it's weird because me and you are open-minded. Like you talk about aliens or Bigfoot, I'll be like, listen, I'll show me the proof, and I'll keep my eyes open. But this type of stuff is just kind of weird and like a waste of time, in my opinion. But I guess some people love it.
What? Yeah, they do. They do, certainly. Look, I love a good conspiracy theory, man. It's fun. It's fun. But I don't go all in, right? I know that most people don't. They don't understand how to protect themselves. They don't know this, and that is the real danger. I want to back up. You were in L.A. Let's back up. I think it was around 2009 or 2010, and there were buses driving around Los Angeles, tour buses that had the end of the world painted on the side. It was a minister from the Midwest or something, and he was doing a campaign across the country. It was the end of the world on, I forget the date, whatever, March 15th, 2010. The end of the world is here. And people took notice of that. And I thought to myself, do you remember those tour buses?
No, but I know the Christian pastors because, I like Christianity, but there's a lot of these preachers that do that all the time. They always make a fake date for the end of the world.
Right.
That's
and I thought to myself, this guy's spending a lot of money. I remember he owned a bunch of Christian radio stations at the time. But I thought, this date's going to come and go. And I remember I was standing with some friends that night, and I said, okay, you know what? I'll see all of you guys tomorrow. We're all still going to be here, all right? And there was a lot of chatter on the media and radio stations talking about these tour buses rolling around. And sure enough, the date came and went, just like November 3rd, just like January 3rd, just like January 6th, just like January 20th. These dates came, and January 20th turned out to be just a normal day, right? It was just, I don't think anything happened, did it?
I mean, they had military there because they were trying to hype it up for the TV. But yeah, as far as did anything crazy happen outside of that? No. And it's interesting because, what you brought up, that when that date doesn't come, all the Christians who follow that guy, they all know because the world's still there. That's the weirdest thing about the Q stuff is when it ends, it never ends. Even with the Christian pastor, I've watched 30 Christian pastors do this. And, they hoax tens of thousands of people to believe them. The date passes. And then everyone realized, okay, we got played. Because it's obvious, if you're not dead or you're not in heaven, it's over, and you move on. So this is not a new phenomenon. This has been around for decades upon decades. And why people can't figure that out, it's crazy because religion is something that really ties people in. When people are religious, you can't tell them otherwise. This is almost crazier than a religion, even though it's not. And they say it's not a religion, it's not a cult. Then how come every time you get your doomsday prophecy or your savior prophecy wrong, you never move on or you never say it's wild?
And the this March date, right? This new inauguration, a second constitution, that's going to come and go.
For
right?
sure.
I know.
I mean, maybe a 0.00001% chance it happens, but I'll be open-minded.
Well, I have said, look, I would love Q to be real. Wouldn't that be the most amazing story ever, right? That this guy surfaces, he's a White House insider, and it all turned out to be real. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, what a conversation, right? Oh, wow. I want, I do. What if there is a second constitution? Whoa, hold on a minute here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but it's not going to happen. But I'm still intrigued by it, right? Let's wait. But it will be moved on to another date, and we're going to push this all the way through 2021, right? It's perpetual. It's never ending.
And it was brilliantly crafted like that. I saw from the beginning too, because people have always told me, smart people, speak in questions if you really want to be smart or you're in an interview, because you always put the other person on the feet. You ask me a question, I answer in a question, then it puts you on your back. So it's the Socratic method of you say broad things like a fortune cookie. Something big is going to happen this week. Oh my God, the fortune, that's all. It was a mixture of all those things. It's genius, dark to light. big drop coming, disinfo is necessary, which then saves you if you mess up, which is basically like, I don't have to be right. It's a genius like mind control tactic, but it's so broad that people will never admit it. Like one of the things said, days of darkness or blackouts. So every time there's a blackout, Pakistan, okay, there's a blackout, there's a blackout. There's been blackouts. There will always be blackouts every year in California because we have, bad leadership. There are blackouts and brownouts. So, they have a way, okay, it doesn't happen in March, but say on March 10th, something semi weird happens. Like, I don't know, it happens every single day since 2016 because the world just went insane. There's always going to be big things. That's the world we live in. Coronavirus, shutdowns, lockdowns. So they're going to cling on to this one kind of like non-story and then just give them more hope to like keep going. But to me, it's really dangerous because I think, and I don't know if we want to get into this, but as far as the consolidation of power, they took out 100,000 restaurants, Amazon, all the big billionaires and tech companies are profiting as all the actual mom and pop shops are being destroyed. So the further you kick this can down the road, Biden didn't get arrested, Patriots got arrested, Hillary didn't get locked up, we got locked in our house. And you play this game for 3 years and you go outside and you're going to realize they just centralized all the power. So I think it's, almost, I don't know if it was purposely meant to be that, but maybe it just kind of spiraled into that where it's like, this isn't just fun and games. At a certain point, you're going to play yourself and play your country. And then, I'll say this real quick too. People are like, either we're screwed or this has to be true. And I'm like, that's kind of a lazy thing. That's like me being 600 pounds and being like, either this pill makes me skinny or I'm going to be fat forever. It's like, no, just put in the hard work. We, the Patriots, we, the people, there's a lot of work to be done on local levels, on state levels. We need to be such a powerful force, we, the people, that no politician left or right can flex on us with these big power muscles, but we're not. We fight, we argue left and right, get caught in rabbit holes. So they have a field day with us. They send trillions of dollars overseas, whether it's McConnell or Pelosi. They're laughing at us. So the people want the easy, short fix, and I get it. Like you said, it would be the greatest story ever. But it's awesome
to rebuild cities. We just have to get back to work. And I am a little bit nervous about that, but hey, in a weird way, it can actually be fun, and let's go out and spend. But the other day, I was driving around in Burbank in a spot that we like to call Restaurant Row, and I'm driving, and I'm talking about big restaurants that I enjoy are closed, boarded up, and I don't know if they're going to reopen. Right. And I'm freaked out about that. It's not the restaurant. Am I going to enjoy the food? It's everybody that worked there. Right. It's the cooks. It's the staff. It's the things. That part of the economy has been removed. And that's just one block of America. It's all over the place. I don't know what this recovery is going to be like. Have you thought about that?
It's going to be tough, and that's the truth. Whether this ends justified the means or whatever, people can have their perspective. I think this was a whole bamboozle, but yeah, it's gonna be a really tough rebuild. Even if we stopped after 15 days to slow the spread, that was already too much. A year, even if we stop tomorrow, it's going to be a huge rebuilding process. A lot of these are never going to come back. And honestly, I think the people in power, when you have, Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post, and the Washington Post tells you you don't want to disagree with the lockdown. Look at his profits. Look at his companies. They're crushing it. He's taking over all these restaurants that I used to like. And then I order from Whole Foods on Amazon. And, Uber Eats is taking more percentages of things, the tech companies. So they know exactly what they're doing. And they go to these things like World Economic Forum. And it's not even a conspiracy theory. I mean, you just got to listen to what they say. They have this grandiose plan of a one world government. They want everybody hand in hand, and they want to control everything. And they're control freaks. It's the same reason why, people get banned for doing this and that. They want everyone to be on their schedule. So I don't think this is random at all. And that's the problem. You have the left wing who will just believe the media because they hate Trump. You have the right wing. Either they love Trump obsessively or they love Q, but the amount of people that are willing to say, hey, whichever way you lean, left or right. Okay. What's really happening? We almost united before the Capitol. Jimmy, we had everybody realized, okay, we're getting $600 and they're sending trillions of dollars overseas. That's not right. There was a uniting. I said left and right. Guys, we're getting $600 and they're sending $500 million to Sudan. that's crazy. That's insane. And we almost got along, and then the Capitol thing happened. So that's got to be the conversation, but it's hard for both sides to put their ego down. Like if I talk to my left-wing friend, he wants to talk about healthcare. And if you don't talk about that, he doesn't want to hear it. If you talk to the right wing, they don't want to get along with the left wing. And I'm like, I see the trap. I'm like, guys, neither of these people care about us. I know you might have a preference, but and then there's just wait for the solution. I'm like, no, God, it's not going to happen. Just waiting. So yes, it's very frustrating. And I do think that, the rebuild is going to be an insane process if they even ever let us get to that point. It seems like they're trying to just slow walk us towards techno integration, but that's a whole nother story. I don't want to get crazy with it now.
Oh no, we can, but it's such a great point. And this is a divided United States. There should be, okay, hear me out. There should be countries out there that are chomping at the bit and wanting us to fail. Okay? But it's not that kind of world right now. They've got their own issues. China's got their own issues right now. Russia's got their own issues right now. Every country in the world has got their own issues. It's not just the United States. We need to realize that. All right? It's not about we need to not be divided. Right now is the time where we don't need this. Right now, it's got to be our children and our future first and what this country is about. Everybody else is on their own. They've got their own issues. Even if we failed, they wouldn't have the strength to do anything about it because they have got their own issues too as well. So, yeah, we need to, at more than ever, just realize, hey, we should never hate our neighbors. Right? Right now, the blue hates the red and the red hates the blue, and they are laughing at us. That's it, right? It's like mission accomplished.
No, you're totally right. And, the pros of America are also the cons of America. The democracy and the fact that it's all like a paradox. In one hand, power's all, it's all in a bunch of different places, so you can't really trace it, and it's hard to pass bills and stuff. But that's also bad. When you try to get something done, the only thing they agree on is war and trillion-dollar spending bills. And then on the same hand, we're so multicultural, we're so diverse, there's so much diversity of thought here, but then we can't get on the same page about anything because we have left and right, and then we have all the, the racial conflicts going on and people saying this and that, and then you have this theory and that theory, and at the end of the day, who wants to be an American who's like, okay, you're my neighbor, we're both suffering in the pandemic, how do we reopen? And that's where I think Russia and China, their cons, where say they're less free than America, they're more dictatory. That almost works in their advantage just as much as it works against the people, where they can move like a unit. So China says, we're going this way, and if you don't, we're going to kidnap you if you don't listen to us. It's messed up, but then they get it done. And same with Russia. That guy's a madman, but it's like, it's like, get out of my way. So it's interesting that the pros of America can also be exploited for a weakness, and the cons of, more dictatorship can also, strong arm play us our kindness for weakness. And I think a lot of people are so nice here, they don't think about these type of war tactics where, it's like not everybody's our friend. And there's going to be bad actors that are trying to exploit us. So it would be nice to get along with the neighbors, but we'll see. We'll see if we can make it happen.
No, it's a tough thing to admit to, that no matter what you want to say about Putin, no matter what you want to say about, these countries where they have absolute rule, even in North Korea, right? But in a situation where something has to be done, you don't want pushback. And nobody's going to rise up in China, right? It ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. Nobody's going to protest. Nobody's going to protest in Moscow, right? Nobody's going to, it's just not going to happen. And here it's too easy to push back, and we've what's the word? We've had so many protests this year. We've had so many things, so many issues that we haven't been able to focus on anything. And the media has taken advantage of all of it, and unfortunately, so many have taken the bait.
Yeah, in Moscow they had a big protest recently, but I just don't think it doesn't move the needle. That he's like, okay, that was cute. You're not getting here. You're not getting the power. Yeah, in America, definitely I saw, the riots and stuff and the protests last year. It was very skeptical timing because it was like, okay, we were all on the same page. We were all suffering. We were all wondering when we were going to get let back out of the house. And then there just started to be like anti-lockdown protests, like, hey, I want to get back to work. And then you have this situation where it's just months of racial conflict, and it's like everyone's on the defense or the attack. No, I'm not this, I'm not that. And I'm thinking to myself, guys, our country's on a lockdown. Every week like that you wait, you have thousands of Hispanic-owned businesses, Black-owned businesses, Caucasian-owned business, whatever. Every rate, it's like all our communities are suffering. There isn't anyone besides the billionaire elite class that's profiting off this. So if we're gonna be, we're like crabs in a pot almost. We're like, guys, we gotta be smarter than this, or they're gonna keep boiling us. Where I saw that, and I'm like, man, 2 months of diversion, and we just got set back even further. So it's. There needs to be maybe an alien or maybe Bigfoot, something that Bigfoot pops out and we all look at him and be like, all right, it's time to come together.
Yeah, there's a diversion right there. And this is, and you make me think, was this plan in place before the pandemic? They just didn't know how to get it done. Right?
I think there's a huge chance of that, because if you look at, I always talk about it in my videos, it was called Event 201. It was Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, World Economic Forum, and Johns Hopkins University, who does a lot of our, COVID stuff. They're one of the big medical universities. In 2019, in November or October, they did a pandemic exercise, a coronavirus pandemic exercise on what they would do if a coronavirus hit the world before it happened. And they had all these things in place. So as soon as it happened, they put all those things in place. And, they said the death rate was 3.4. It never was, and I knew it wasn't. But they just went along with the plan they kind of already had. Like, this is what we do if a coronavirus hits. It's interesting because it is accomplishing all the goals that they want to do. They always would love to centralize power. What's better than to just literally, it's essentially, you could call it authoritarian, whatever, when you say you're essential and you need to die. Your business needs to die, but your business can thrive. Costco is going to make more money, but your mom's ornament shop is going to lose business. Like, that's insane, and it's not scientific. And yeah, it's not coincidental, or that would be a shocking coincidence.
Yeah, and I thought that a pretty good idea would have been to share the pain a little bit. Like, maybe for a couple of weeks, Walmart and Costco had to shut down. Right? And so all the other little supermarkets and people and things and shops could stay open, and we could shop there. And share the pain a little bit and try to figure this out. It just seemed like there was no plan in place for the rest of society. It was a very, very strange thing how some were allowed to prosper and most were not. Very strange, very selective.
No, you're a nice guy, and I think the people in charge are not so nice or not so kind, where, I looked at Michigan's rules. They're opening up February 1st or whatever, and it says no sports, no contact sports except for pro sports. So what's the science that pro sports don't spread coronavirus, but your kids' sports do? The science is that the NBA and the NFL make billions of dollars and have huge corporate sponsors, and your kids don't. So they don't have money or power in the society, so they don't really care about it. It's just sick because this is the mental health of kids. I've seen little kids that are like, Mommy, I don't want to wear a mask. Mommy, I like when I was free. Like, this is traumatizing for these kids. It's traumatizing for adults. It's like, it's ruining childhoods, ruining college, ruining people's vacation. And no matter where you are in life, life's too short. So it's like, if this was a concrete strategy to save millions of lives, I would understand. But the more you look at the data, the more you look at they say science, and they're not based on science. Joe Biden wins, and then California is going to open up. Look at the deaths in America. They're higher than they've been in a long time, and hospitalizations are higher than they were when California closed down. So, or at least Los Angeles. So what's the science of them opening up? The science is I think they just want to open for whatever reason, politically, socially. They figured out their state's going to fall apart or something. So it's sick what they're doing, man. And it's disappointing, but I try to not get too down about it because, you got to make the most. I looked outside, I saw the mountain. So I'm like, God is great, life is good, but let America free at a certain point.
Let's take our break right here. Our guest tonight is An0maly. What a great conversation. We'll be right back after this short break. All of An0maly's links, and there's a lot of them, they're all over at jimmychurchradio.com, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, BitChute. Go and check them all out. We'll be right back after this short break. Stay with us.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Do you want to be an official Fadernaut? Of course you do. This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black. Just go to our membership section at jimmychurchradio.com. Fadernauts, when you think about the future of our country and where we're headed, do you wonder about the food supply? I do. Disruptions in the food supply chain could be disastrous, and they usually occur with little warning. That's why the smartest thing you can do today is to stockpile emergency food, water, and other essentials. I personally recommend My Patriot Supply. They're the nation's largest emergency preparedness company, serving millions of customers for more than a decade. In fact, they're the only source my family trusts for our preparedness plan. You should too. Right now, save 20% off a full 4-week supply of delicious meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. Saving 20% helps too, doesn't it? Especially now. So go to preparewithjimmy.com and get ready. That's preparewithjimmy.com. There's no time to lose. Do it now.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You listen to us, and we listen to you. And so does the CIA. KGRARadio.com.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, An0maly. We'll get to An0maly in just a second. And in my rant tonight, talking about AI and what is going on in your data, how much data is collected every single day. I'm not kidding. The facts are the facts. The data would stretch from Earth to Mars and back every single day. That is crazy. It's your data. You have no idea how much is collected and put in your file every single day. It is a lot. And right now, there are suggestions that our credit scores might be based on our internet history in the future. They are collecting your data. Researchers studying the relationship between finance and tech found that data from your browsing, your search history, your purchase history could be used to decide your credit in the future. You need to stop this. And if you want to prevent this from happening to you, use the very best VPN that you can. Right? It is Virtual Shield VPN. It's what I use. I highly recommend it. Virtual Shield VPN. It's simple to do. It is built from the ground up for privacy. There is an absolute strict no logs policy. Go to virtualshield.com/fade to black, and you will get Virtual Shield for 50% off today. Or click on the link below in the description box and head straight over to Virtual Shield VPN. All right. Our guest tonight, An0maly. An0maly. Now, I want to talk about your audience for a second. As you're watching the ebb and flow and comments throughout social media, where is your audience today on the conspiracy theories behind all of the election fraud and the mass arrest and at 8 a.m. on January 20th, the National Guard's going to take over martial law, and the 250,000 troops on the Canadian border that are getting ready to invade the U.S. Where's your audience with all of this?
Yeah, I think most of my audience definitely, think election fraud exists. Where I was even watching election night, I watch betting odds too, because usually they're more accurate than the pollsters, because there's a lot of money on the line. And, it was wrapping up to the point where in a normal election, it would seem like, they were about to call it for Trump. It was very close because he's up 16% in Pennsylvania. And then they paused the election. That was very sketchy. Just like, well, let's wait till the morning. It's like, really? I mean, I work till 3 a.m. sometimes. This is a big election. So with all the stuff that went in the following days, people were definitely sketched out by that. So I think two separate issues. So I think most people, especially that voted for Trump, believe that there was election fraud and a lot of suspicious behavior. And then as far as like the martial law type stuff, I would say it's a mixed bag, but I would say most of my audience is pretty, awake to it, not into it and like being like, okay, it didn't pan out. But, there's always certain people who just don't want to hear it. So I guess the more I talk about it, the more people kind of reveal themselves as to which way they feel. But I would say a majority of my audience pretty much gets it.
And what about the lack of evidence when it comes to election fraud, where you can there are a lot of pretty big claims that were put out there, a lot. I mean, it was a lot, and a lot of court cases where nothing. If you're in a position to make these claims, you're going to go to court. I mean, Judge Judy, right? The people's court. You need to go there with some receipts, right? Mm-hmm. You're not going to win the case unless you got a receipt. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't any of that. How did your audience respond?
Well, I think, the bark was a little bit bigger than the bite from people like Sidney Powell. Her and Giuliani, they actually got sued by Dominion Voting for both $1.3 billion. So we'll see what happens, because Sidney Powell kept saying, I hope they sue me, because if I go to court, I can get discovery and start to really investigate them. She claimed she wanted to. So we'll see now that the election's over if she really meant it or not. But that was the issue, because, she has a pretty good track record as a lawyer. So she came out and her bark was enormous, and certain things are true. But I think some of the stuff, I have proof that millions of votes were shifted. I don't think she really did have proof of that. There was other stuff on a smaller scale, but I think that really hit a lot of people hard, where the lawyers really told people, we got this under control. And then, the Supreme Court didn't take their case, this and that. And here's why I kind of stayed out of it, and a lot of people got upset. It wasn't that I know anytime you have mass mail-in ballots, in my state, they sent everybody a ballot. There were a lot of things that were sketchy and easy to take advantage of. But here's why I felt like it was a little bit of a circus personally. First of all, the whole reason for the mass mail-in ballots was because of the lockdown and the shutdown. And, Trump was kind of responsible for it. He did 15 days to slow the spread. He extended it till Easter. He, really got upset with Georgia when they were the first state to open. A lot of people who support him think he was really anti-lockdown, not until after a month or two. So he kind of set himself up for the mass mail-in ballots. And also he complained about machine voting like a while ago. In 2012, I think it was, on his Twitter. So my thought was, okay, if you were really concerned about the machines, you should have looked before the election, and because it was well known in Texas had complained about them. Even the Democrats had complained about them. So it was kind of weird to me that they waited till after the elections to kind of flail their arms. And to me, I felt like it was a setup for some reason, because I'm like, they're wiping people off social media for talking about it, and you can't really prove it. If I say something, what does that do? I can't. It's got to be Sidney Powell, one of his lawyers. My word doesn't really hold up in court for an election this huge. So I felt like it was a big setup. They got all the supporters to really like say this, this, and this, and then they kind of fell short. But yeah, I think mail-in ballots generally are not a good idea, but we have to figure that out. Even machine ballots can be, or machine voting, but figure that out before the election. Don't wait till after and then, run in circles. To me, it was just kind of sloppy.
And going back to your audience, do you feel that they are willing to take a step back, take a deep breath, and reevaluate where we are, and then move into the future and look at this with a responsible mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are willing to do that. A lot of people are burned out, but that's really that's the $1 million question.
Well, actually, let me interrupt you.
Yeah.
You suggested this to them. So how was their reaction to it? Yeah, let me lay it out that way.
I mean, most people are responsive. Like, people that watch me, they know they're getting something different and it's unique. So they're not, they don't really care that much. But as far as the party, like, the party's very split. People don't like the establishment. People like Trump, but he, fell short of being in office. So there's a lot of, I think it's like almost like after a bad breakup or something. I think a lot of people are still dealing with it, and we're going to have to wait a month to see where people are at. They're talking about a Patriot Party. People don't really know anymore, but I think the one silver lining for me is like, okay, the storm is cleared in the sense of like, they're not always just talking about Biden all the time. They clearly have a huge bias towards him. So the waters seem calmer. So now I can do more reporting myself that I want to, instead of being caught up in the media hype all the time. But people took it well, and people think he's been in on it the whole time. I have a mixture of like political beliefs, I think. But I think I've built a pretty good audience of reasonable people that have good ideas, and they're ready to like, face whatever's coming and try to be productive.
Have you thought about running for office?
No, yeah, I mean, people have mentioned it, but I really don't like politics. I like news reporting and I like news analysis, and I think news is very fake. So party I wouldn't want to be at. Like it's like a party with however many people are in Congress, a couple hundred, just that don't even like you. I'm like, I'd rather just do my own thing.
And you're smiling, but you have thought about it.
Not seriously. Maybe when I'm like 60 or 70, when I've already kind of done the thing. But I'm more interested in news reporting and something else. But that's the thing. Culture really shifts, I think, in general. Like some rappers have bigger audiences than politicians. So I'd rather just try to have a good impact on humanity, on the country, and sit out of the politics.
You just don't want to cut your hair. You don't want to cut your hair.
No, what are you talking about? I got the George Washington. They used to love this type of long hair. They used to put the fake wigs on.
You have long gray hair.
Yeah, like it's like Bernie actually, he looked like 100 when he was 40. It wasn't until Bernie was like in his 70s he actually aged into a character that looked more legit. Maybe that'll be like me. I'll get seasoned as I get older. But no, I don't want anything to do with politics really. I think there's other ways to impact.
Now, with all of the censorship that's going on, I got tagged. I got hit by Facebook this week because I posted a joke. By the way, a joke.
What was the joke?
The joke was Sweet Tart Ropes. Sweet Tart Ropes, the candy, cured my COVID. And I had it here. I posted a picture of Sweetheart Row, and I said, 100 of these 3 times a day, right? I mean, how? Right? It's a joke. I've gotten 3 days now in a row of warnings from Facebook. One more slip up, we're going to close your account. And I'm just like, first off, it's been deleted. They deleted it for me. But have you been forced into doing the dance? Have you gotten the warnings from Facebook?
Yeah, actually, I got demonetized for 3 or 4 months. They took all my revenue away, and then they basically cut my reach. So for 4 months, people couldn't even barely see my posts. I'm suspicious that it was before the election, but they did a lot of the COVID things, and they're so sloppy. Like, I did a parody video. They fact-checked it 3 times where I pretended like I was a Mask fanatic. I was like, hey, my name's Pete Johnstone. I'm the biggest Mask fan in the world. I just did like a funny impression thing. 3 strikes. Then they gave me one. I posted the CDC quote, like literally the CDC, and they said the CDC never said that. I was like, my post is the CDC. I'm so careful because I know they want to bop anything that has to do, if you talk about Pfizer, Moderna, this, that. So I talk about it, but as accurately as I can. And they bought me pretty hard, and then gave me all my stuff back. So I don't censor myself in that way, but I'm very careful because I know even jokes and stuff, they're looking to ping. So I try to back everything up. But yeah, I've got pinged 6 times, and all 6 times they were wrong. They mislabeled what I even said. So it's such a joke.
Yeah, they literally said to me, "You made a mistake. That's okay. People can make mistakes." I mean, it's like word for word, right? I'm like, mistake? It was a joke, you know, and there wasn't any place for me to reply, for me to appeal, for me to discuss. They just hit me. So, and I've been on Facebook since 2008. I've never had any issues with them at all. And then I crack a joke about candy. And COVID, right?
They don't care. They don't care. Like I had a lady I talked to because my page is pretty big on Facebook. I have like almost 2 million people. So I had like an actual contact at Facebook that said like, hey, this is my name. Like, I'm here to help the bigger creators, whatever, get into this program. So I get into the program. Then when they cut my page, demonetized it, I messaged her and I said, hey, you fact checked me 6 times. And I was like, every time I can prove to you that you were wrong. I literally had a cutout of CDC statistics, but they said, no, the CDC never said that. But they didn't care. It was like, getting higher orders. And I definitely think before the election, like, it's the same with the restrictions. I mean, it's one thing if you really have a science-based thing, okay, when we reach this, we're going to go to this. They keep moving the goalposts. So as soon as Biden gets in office, Michigan opens, DC's opening, California's opening. Well, deaths aren't down. So what is it? Hospital. It's such a joke. So I think they just sucked it away, got the results they wanted in the election, and then gave it back to me.
Well, and you just mentioned it. I kind of wanted to stay. It was in my news tonight, but I don't know if everybody's aware, but California is now opened back up as of today. I've got the full list of what is open and how it's opened. But strangely enough, it's right in the middle of this big Gavin Newsom recall with these huge petitions and donations. He's right on the edge of that. And then suddenly, magically, California is open. Now, yesterday and last week, California didn't have any ICU beds open, right? We had the highest death rate in the country. We had the highest infection rate in the country. We don't have enough vaccines to go around. We had all these issues last week. This week, we're good to go. It's like, and Gavin literally said it wasn't a political decision.
Yeah. A lot of, even like, I saw even journalists that usually support him, even they were calling him out, like mainstream journalists, because when they closed down outdoor dining in Los Angeles, they got in their little whatever meeting and people said, what's the science behind it? And they referenced a CDC study from the summer, but that CDC summer study didn't differentiate indoor from outdoor dining. So they used an old study that was mutt. Why would you close outdoor dining using a study that shows indoor and outdoor? It doesn't even show the difference. Of course, outdoor in the sun, it'd be better, but they just closed outdoor dining. Not scientific, never was. Then they, keep moving the goalposts. He actually said last year, I think it was like in March, he made this statement that half of California was going to have COVID by May. This was like an insane, that was his prediction. Never happened. It didn't even get close, but then they just switched the metric. So now the metric is, we think by February, we're predicting this many hospital beds. Well, that's not why you close. It's an unlimited game of moving the goalposts. I mean, they said when this mRNA vaccine, by the way, a lot of people don't know this. This is why I talk about it a lot. Say like China, they're giving their citizens like a normal vaccine, which is just, a little bit of the virus, whatever. Just this one's mRNA. A lot of people don't even know that. It's brand new. They've never really done it, had it out before, the Pfizer and Moderna one. I just like to explain that without even giving an opinion, because I'm like, people have never heard that. I don't see anybody really explaining it to people. But it's like, okay, when that comes out, then we're going to let everybody free. And then as soon as it comes out, they move he says, you have to get it, then you have to get the second dose, then you still have to wear the mask, then it's still not going to be safe. So I know people that are getting it, and I'm like, are you going to stop being so scared when you get it? And they say, no, I'm still scared, because what's the point? Usually they tell you get it and you won't be scared anymore. Now they say just get it and be scared again. And
that's the conspiracy. That's the real conspiracy of what's going on. In that, if you just look at the decisions that are being made today versus the decisions that were being made last March, you and I live in Southern California. We had a curfew, a bleeping curfew. We had a hospital ship pull into Long Beach. Remember that? We had military field hospitals set up in Central Park in New York. And today, where we have got a real pandemic with real infections, with real numbers and real death rates, March of last year, the numbers weren't there. But we had this huge reaction, freaking out the public, right? I lost my mind. Curfews, right? It was crazy. A hospital ship in Long Beach. And today, when we need all of that stuff, none of it is in place. None of it. It's the exact opposite. It doesn't make any sense.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, they changed Javits Center. They brought in the two ships. Didn't use them. Yep. And then they went away. And now that we could probably use that, they say we don't need them. But that's their little secret, too. If you look at, I did a video. It was actually based in England. But every year from 2013 to 2020, they had a headline saying hospitals filled, hospitals filled, hospitals filled. So it's not abnormal in a lot of places to have close to capacity. I mean, they've been fear-mongering about this for a decade. I had the same article, The Guardian. Every year they said 99% capacity. Oh my God, fear, doom, doom, doom. So that's kind of what happens in certain areas. And and the big secret that they're not saying too is, say you close down a dentist's office like they did from March to May. If you're a successful dentist office, you don't really have openings anyway. So now you're going to be backed up for a year because you have 2 months of things that you miss. Same with a hospital. They shut down elective surgeries, cancer screenings. A lot of people were afraid to go, or still are. So as soon as you open up, you're going to be more backed up than normal, probably because you weren't open for 2 months. And now people used to be able to walk in and out of an urgent care. Now I know people can't go to urgent care because they won't let them in. They say, don't come here. You're not allowed in. So then these people have to go to, my sister had to go to a hospital for something so basic, pay the big fine, go around all the people that could have COVID. She didn't want to be there, but they wouldn't let her in the urgent care. This is a nightmare. They're destroying the health industry, the restaurant industry the ends justifying the means of this theory that lockdowns are really healthy when, a lot of the lockdown countries, Peru, Argentina, had crazy lockdowns. I don't see the numbers. California, as soon as they locked down, the numbers didn't go down. They spiked up even faster. But, that's also known as normal years, flu season. So, of course, if we have COVID, isn't it going to be COVID season? It's November to January. I'm not saying it's not real. I think it is real. I know people who have it. I'm just saying I don't know a single winter where more people didn't get this type of stuff ever, because it doesn't exist. That's just what, there's so many little tricks like that. And real quick before I pass it back, oh yeah, people can't see me, but I have this book. It's called How to Lie with Statistics by Daryl Huff. It was written like almost 100 years ago now, and it was on Bill Gates's reading list. He said, hey, read this like a couple years ago. So I read it, and it's all about lying with statistics. It's all about how to lie with studies for medicine, for health, for commercials, for cigarettes. It's the whole thing's about that. So if I were to say it, they'd call me a conspiracy theorist. But the guy who's really orchestrating a lot of this stuff, Bill Gates, he told me to read the book. He told everyone to read it. And
Hold it up. Let me see the cover. That's cool.
Yeah. How
to Lie with Statistics by Daryl Huff.
Mm-hmm.
There it is right there.
Yep.
All right.
And they even mention how they did this with polio. In the book, they say, hey, this happened, but they didn't talk about this. They didn't tell you about this. They didn't tell you about the financial incentive. And if I were to say that, they'd say, hey, shut you down. You can't say that. I'm like, listen, William Gates told me to read this book. I didn't find this on my own. I see what they say, and I'm like, let me see what this guy's talking about. I'm like, wow, but I think they know most people just won't read it. So, it's a game.
How to Lie with Statistics. Now, we're going to take a quick break and we'll come back and see where we are at. But I am totally fascinated with the conspiracy of politics right now. I mean, it's across the board. I cannot believe what is going on. I don't know how we're going to get this great country, An0maly, back on track. We have to be able to get this bus, because it's off the road. It's in a ditch. We've got to get it back on the road, man. We don't have a choice, do we?
No, that's definitely got to be the focus of this year.
Let's take our break. Our guest tonight is An0maly. Let me hit the right button. I just did. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. Now, you can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. An0maly, what's your tweet?
Wait, say it again. Oh, my Twitter?
Yeah.
Legendary Energy.
Legendary Energy. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal God, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KGRA Digital Broadcasting Station. Salt Lake City, Utah. Van Buren, Arkansas.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
Your contact for current news and trending topics. KGRARadio.com.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I only drink Fade to Black blend coffee from Rivermoon. Just click on the Rivermoon Coffee banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. Promo code F2B Blend.
This is the only way forward.
This is Fade to Black. Make contact. KGRARadio.com.
When you're in the house for longer periods of time, you can see them flying or running across the floor. Ooh, yuck. They're unhealthy, gross, and disgusting. Bugs. I loathe bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. On contact, it kills hidden bugs, including ants, roaches, and fleas. Plus, Orange Guard is a residual repellent. All of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally recognized as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard. Available at orangeguard.com, Whole Foods, and Ace Hardware.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why fade to black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I've got to look into this March inauguration thing. I mean, I enjoy good comedy. It's comedy. I enjoy good comedy. Our guest tonight is An0maly. And now, going back to social media and your followers and things, did Twitter do the right thing? Not only with Trump, but they purged millions of accounts over the last couple of weeks. I took a pretty serious ding, which I don't care about. Whatever was cleared out, probably never listened to this show or followed me or commented or anything like that. So it's not that big of a deal. But is there too much power in social media, or is social media in their right as a private company to do whatever they wish?
Yeah, I guess it's a double-edged sword. I personally think, what they did to Trump is double standards, where you could find, I did a whole compilation of all these other politicians on the other side, like doing 10 times as much, literally being like, harass people in the streets. Like, why aren't there riots today? Like saying that stuff out in the open, where I think the 6th was very sloppily done. I didn't go. It seemed like a trap to me. I had an instinct that was like, don't go. It's going to be a trap. But, I don't think he incited it. I think he kind of messed up a little bit, not being, thinking about what could happen or whatever. But yeah, I don't think he incited it. They're just using it like they do everything. They'll, he sneezes, they'll say it was Hitler or whatever. So I get the whole dynamic to it, but I don't think they did the right thing. However, it's interesting where, okay, people went to Parler, and then Apple purges Parler, and then Google purges Parler. So Apple and Google control all the app stores. Gab built all their own servers and stuff, so a lot of people are using that. You have BitChute, you have Rumble. It is cool to see people get around it, and then when they get banned from servers, create their own servers. I like that, but these tech companies So it's hard for me to feel bad, although obviously I don't agree with what happened. When I watched people get banned then, and I think the GOP honestly thought, we'll never get banned. It's just these crazy conspiracy theorists. So it's kind of like what comes around goes around. And eventually, right before the election, they started censoring politicians. And they were like, oh, geez, we got to take Zuckerberg to court. It's like, you had everything for that's why I don't feel that bad. It's like, yes, it was not right, but they had the power to rein them in, and they just never did because it wouldn't come for them.
Yeah, and I think a lot of I thought that many thought that this would continue for another 4 years. Nobody saw what ultimately ended up happening. But you're right. Back in 2018, if you were concerned about Twitter or Facebook or anything else, you had the authority and the power to push something through, and it wasn't done. Just like election fraud, by the way. You brought up one of the best points. You talked about it. You didn't do anything about it until after the fact, right?
Yeah.
And that's wait a minute here. You have to blame at a certain point, you need to accept the blame and the responsibility.
I think so, definitely with them, especially when they had House, Senate, and presidency. But it's interesting because I think they play the fence. Public utility, oh no, I'm a private company. They have a crazy good deal, but then they use it against other people. So I'll just say this real quick. There have been mass shooters, all sorts of crazy people that have done Facebook live streams, Twitch live streams, Snapchat live streams, and they never get taken down. But, they blame Parler, they blame Gab, the media, Apple, Google, they all work together, and they just purge out their competition. So yeah, I think, it's messed up, but it's hard to feel bad, in my opinion, for the Republicans, because I saw this coming in 2018, and I really truly believe that they look at everyone else like, yeah, they won't, it's like, okay, they went for that guy, they'll never come for me. And then but isn't that what free speech is supposed to be in this country? If you don't protect it for the people you disagree with the most, they eventually come for you. And I think that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Is social media and the internet, and that includes not only Amazon Web Services, but Amazon Prime, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Google. Are they too big to mess with? Are they bigger or more powerful than the United States, than Russia, than China? Right?
Yeah.
You can't really mess with them. Can they be broken up?
I think they could have. I mean, I don't know that the Democrats are interested in doing it, but I think they could have, because, yeah, I guess if you really look at, say you compare what Trump said to what China says or what Iran says, like, they say some pretty wild stuff, and I don't even really want to censor them, because if that's the leader of Iran, I kind of just want to see what he's saying. I don't have to agree with it, but you have the guy from China, they have the Uyghur, Muslims, kind of like they're doing this sort of social control on them and bragging about how they're not having kids as much. It's some weird stuff, but it's all right up there on Twitter, and they allow that. So yeah, it's like, they have too much power. I think they could have been reined in, but that's a question for us too, where it's like, at what point, we all are kind of like attached to them. It's like a love. I hate Twitter in a way. I spend too much time there. People argue with me, but it's my own fault. I just got to click off of it, So it's that question, like, is it their fault? Is it our fault? I think it's a paradox, because there's pros and cons to either one.
Yeah, people want to reel me in. I just don't. I don't take the bait.
Smart.
I just don't take the bait. I use it to promote the show and say hello to people and have fun, but I just don't take the bait. You cannot win. You cannot win. It doesn't matter. But there's another part to this, which is it's not just politics and the conspiracy of politics. It's COVID will get you banned. It's anti-vaxxers will get you banned. Conspiracy theories, UFOs will get you banned if you do the wrong thing. Right?
Yeah.
It's like they want to control the narrative. It's not just one thing that is being dealt with here, and we could focus on that. It's just about everything else that goes against the norm, and if you do that, they're going to silence you. They're going to curb you. They're going to slow you down.
Yeah, and they're all working on the same thing. I don't know if they have meetings about it and stuff, but like, when Parler, they wanted to take down that app, Apple and Google did it within 24 hours. When they deplatformed Alex Jones in 2018, they literally bopped him on everything, including Spotify, within 24 hours. So they're all working hand in hand. They all have the same agenda, and you're totally right. Like, questioning the lockdown was basically illegal on Facebook, like protesting the lockdown. So now they have this new thing that pretty much makes you, essentially like on house arrest, and you didn't even do anything. They just say that there's a sickness, and you rejecting that is some sort of penalty of health. It's evil genius. It's an evil genius scheme to say, oh, we're protecting you, we're helping you. But, it's very messed up, and definitely I think, they should have done something about it when they had the chance, because this was all, I watched this all happen in March, April, June, July, August, and, no actions were really done. So that's definitely something to think about. And as citizens, at a certain point, we have to take accountability too. How do we get around this? And it's tricky, but I think it's clear the government, at least for the next 4 to 8 years, probably not going to do it for us. So we got to figure out how to get around that, because they're definitely controlling the narrative and slicing and dicing anybody that they deem, unsafe to listen to.
Now, and there are so many now today that have chosen to go the alternative route as broadcasters, as researchers. Instead of going into with your career trying to get a gig at CNN or Fox or MSNBC or whatever, now we have the ability, like what you're doing, to create your own media environment, your own network, and go that route. In most cases, these citizen journalists like yourself have as much viewers and supporters as any of the mainstream media. your influence is just as strong. I'm going to say this. Your influence is just as strong as somebody like Wolf Blitzer or Sean Hannity, right? And they don't want that because there's nobody that's going to walk in your studio right now that I can see and tap you on the shoulder and go, dude, you got to pipe this down a bit. You know, that control is not there. And that is what they fear the most, isn't it?
Totally. And they actually said that on CNN. It's funny you mentioned that because I don't know if you saw, but there was some guy who said, hey, you know, conservatives are doing good on Facebook, blah, 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 whatever. And then he basically was like saying, oh, he was all mad. They have more influence than people on TV. But you got to ask yourself why exactly? Like, why do these people without the big deals? That's what it is. No question. And these people are control freaks. You know, they love to bring race into it. They love to bring health into it. And they'll use anything like a shield, you know, a woman, a child, a race, a virus. And it's not that these things aren't real and there's not real issues to talk about, but that's how they get to you. You know, they can't just take you out because you could probably crush them in a debate. But it's like, we're doing it for your safety. But really, that's what it is. They are power freaks. They don't want anybody to outshine them or, you know, get outside their grip.
Now, you have a very cool ability to deal with some of these very delicate issues. I watched all of your stuff when the BLM and the racism and the George Floyd was raging across this country, certainly in our own neighborhoods right here in Los Angeles. You that was one example of you being able to deal with, you know, something very sensitive where the mass media wants to turn it into fear and turn, you know, man against man and divide the country. You did the exact opposite, and you have the ability to do that. That is something else that mass media is afraid of. They don't want Citizens United. They don't want us trying to figure this out. They want us to be scared, don't they?
Absolutely. And they all, both networks, left or right, all the TV ones, they sell pills in the commercial. That's their big thing. Pill, 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 lawyer, 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 lawyer. So they scare people. And sometimes I think it's their political agenda. They're doing it to socially engineer. And other times I think, you know, it's that combined with money, where the biggest day on CNN in a while was the Capitol riots. So they'll tell you they hate the Capitol riots, right? We're more left-wing. These are right-wing terrorists. Well, how much do you really hate it if it's the biggest day you've ever had on your network? So what's really going to stop? They need something like that. They need a Trump. You know, I think a Trump story that's like benign now is probably going to get more clicks than a Biden story, even though Trump's not in there. So it's like the things they hate, they love. They're all about fear. They're all about division. And it's, you know, it's a trap where I think a lot of lefties kind of realize that like the MSNBC, CNN types are not real lefties. You know, they're starting wars, they're doing all this stuff. But that's the thing. It's like they get the fear, they get the anger, and a lot of it is controlled just like Facebook. You know, it's they're working on behest of military industrial complex, big pharma, you know, the tech companies, whatever. And I think a lot of people are really waking up to that. So they're getting ticked off.
Well, you could say the same thing about Fox. I mean, it's crazy the flip-flop that you see going on right now with all of mass media. It's shocking to me.
And it's a control thing where I notice, like, you know, there's a few gems on television, not many, but a few. Those are the number one targets. And same with politics. There's not a lot of winners in politics. The media turns people against the most authentic politicians. There's only like 2 of them. And those are the most hated among people. So they have a way of like, if there's any light on any of these networks, find it, identify it, and try to get it off there immediately. And, you know, a lot of conservatives woke up to Fox News because they kind of flipped on Trump like election night. And that was like the nail in the coffin, I think, for them, because the boomer generation who loved them now hates them. But in a way, it's kind of like it's a controlled discussion where, you know, there's going to be some truth that hops out on both things. But it's like you said, you know, there's certain things that you just don't work there if you talk about. Like you said, tap on the shoulder. Like, I don't, you know, that's not going to fly where you don't have that on the internet so much, which is why people are thriving and learning more.
Yeah, it was one of the things, I'll speak very directly. It was one of the concerns that I always had when I was on Coast to Coast. I'm dealing with a lot of different things on Coast to Coast. The opposite of here, I'm dealing with the FCC. I'm dealing with regulations. I'm dealing with language. I'm also dealing with what I am speaking about. I was constantly in fear of, I'm censoring myself. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I've got a huge network here, Premiere, that, I don't want. And I'm just like, wait a minute here. That's not what I'm about. I should be able to speak for here on Fade to Black. Dude, I just say whatever, I am me. And over on Coast, and it's the same problem with all of the networks. Those hosts that you see are not really them. They're not saying what they want to say. They are being told what to say. And they cannot step out of the line. They can't do it. It's impossible. But nobody understands that. Those hosts understand it fully. When I left Coast to Coast, it was like cutting the cords. I love doing Coast because of what it represents and its history and things. And I'm speaking to a big audience. But I was also confined, and I was in a box. And I didn't like those restrictions. The fear of, in the middle of a broadcast, the red phone's going to ring, right? And I'm going to be told something. I don't want that hanging over my head. Here, all I have to fear is my wife, right? you know what I mean? And,
Absolutely.
And you have that same freedom.
Yeah, it's a blessing because I know even in like politics and stuff, there's a lot of groups and donors and, like bigger organizations that give you bigger When I was younger, I had a lot of views on YouTube just rapping, and I got label meetings with some big execs, and they told me, like, because I was actually rapping about conspiracy theories back then too. They said, don't do that. Like I was talking about politics, Obama, Ron Paul, just saying like kind of degenerate things. To be honest, I was younger. Like that you can't talk to Ron Paul. Like, what are you doing? So they really told me to do that, independent labels and big labels. So people don't realize the social engineering that goes into all this stuff. Movies. Like most people, the average watcher, I'm sure your audience knows, but the average TV watcher, like, oh, this is just Netflix is controlled now. Netflix is only going to show you documentaries from a certain perspective. There's going to be some gems and great shows. I've seen a few, but it's all controlled. The music, they have songwriters. They'll say, write about the end of the world, and they'll all do it. And, they'll all write these. They have a really weird game going on where they know the power of the media, and it's not just entertainment. It's just as much programming as it is entertainment.
The mass media An0maly right now could help fix the situation that we are in. They could do it. If they absolutely change the message and change the narrative, they could do it. They could right the ship. They could apologize. They will not.
CNN's fault for airing it and fear-mongering about it, partially. But why do so many people want to see that stuff? It's got to be on us too. Like, even with this lockdown, like, how many people are just complying to whatever they say? Do this, get in line, take this, go here, go to this, and people don't question it. So how mad can I be at the politicians? I'm frustrated, I'm annoyed, but I'm almost more annoyed with our country, our people, because we get in line, and if you buy it, they sell it, and that's what's happening. So I always go back to on my channel. Self-accountability, like change yourself to change the world. It sounds corny, but if everyone did that, we'd win. But you have left, right, blue, red, this, that, and everybody's fighting. And, I'm not that old for somebody in politics. I'm fairly younger. I feel like the adult in the room, and it's kind of pathetic in my opinion, because I'm talking to people 20 years older than me, and they're acting like kindergartners. And it's like, are you guys joking? Are you serious? I understand tensions are high and you're very passionate, but really, like 2021, we're supposed to be on hoverboards and, making explorations, and we're stuck inside the house yelling at each other on Twitter. Like, this is not what I was promised.
Oh, man, exactly. And I would say, and again, I want to go back to your audience. I would say that the majority of this country, as divided as it is, the majority of this country is going to have amnesia very soon 2020 is going to be in our rear view mirror. And a lot of the stuff that we have gone through is going to be forgotten because we still have to work. We still have to feed our kids. We've got to get our schools back. We've got and a lot of this divisiveness is going to get put behind us. I think it's a natural tendency. What do you think?
I think it will. It's got to be, we'll see what they do. I hope they open up. I hope people work. But my one thing that I'm concerned about is we're kind of just sitting ducks. Like this year, they really pulled a big, here's what we're going to do. And everyone kind of followed. So I'm thinking I hope they open up. But whereas I think the elites were more scared of people 2-3 years ago, there's populism on both sides. People care. They don't want the establishment. I think they figured out a way to screw everyone over. So I hope everything opens up. I'm always optimistic about things going on, but I think, it really matters what people do. Like you even said, is your audience, are people willing to take that step and be more rational? That's what it's going to be on. It's really on us. That's why, not to go back to it, but just wait, it's going to happen. I find that is dangerous for that reason. I'm I think we are the plan. So yeah, if things open up and, people get the right sources and stuff, it could be a great moment for America. But we're at such a crunch time right now where I just see there's so many different directions we can go. It's like a choose your own adventure book where, I like the optimism by you though, Jimmy.
I have to look at it that way. If we don't believe it inside of ourselves, right? If we firmly don't believe it, then we're not going to go anywhere. We have to change ourselves. I think that the rest of the world right now, the rest of the world that also took the bait, they're starting to get a bit tired. I think so. We're starting to see some real unrest around the world where, you know what? Enough is enough is enough is enough. Okay. We gave you 2020, right? We stepped up. We gave you 2020. Okay. Maybe it worked. Maybe it didn't, but we've got to get on with our lives. And the rest of the world is saying that right now very loud and clear.
I love that. No, it's so true. I've been lifting weights sometimes on my live streams, having fun, but also there's that one quote they say, strong men create good times create weak men create hard times. I'm working like guys, weak. We just had one of the hardest times in our generation. We have two options. Either we stay weak, or we get strong and then we create good times. So I think that's the cycle of life. So it's up to us how strong we're going to be on the rebound. I like the energy that you're having. I'm keeping that. Let's start building. I'm not even a builder, but I'm out here. I want to build a skyscraper right now off the vibes.
I said to my wife today, I said, I want to build another patio thing. Do you think that 2021 is going to be like the Roaring 20s, right? Where once you've been cooped up for this long, right? Once everybody gets let out, is it going to be party, spend? Let's have some fun. We've been cooped up for so long.
That's a good point. I hope so. I mean, I hopefully people don't party too hard, but it's really bad, social isolation and all this stuff. Even just going to get a cup of coffee, they've made everything way less enjoyable. You can't see people's faces. So I hope it is. One thing that I'm, not to be a downer, but I know a lot of these people that were talking about the pandemic, the Great Reset, they're talking about power grid, this and that. I think there's people that are very power hungry, but the masses have more numbers. I think in America, outside of race, outside of politics, most people are good people. And if they were spoken to properly on the media, people just want to feed their families, get on with their lives regardless. So they're just not spoken to like that. So everybody's always confused. So if we can get the right leadership or at least the right vibes in place, these powerful people will have no choice. They're outnumbered. So if everyone has the attitude that you have and we start really building and having a good time, I think it's not as hard as people think to get over it. But I think it could be like a whole renaissance. I want to real quick, this guy, G. Edward Griffin, I don't know if you know him, but he told me to read a few books. And one of them he was saying when freedom was the most prevalent throughout human history, tends to be when there's less government. So, when government overreach happens, you don't have so much innovation because they don't really allow it. So I think that's key for us. If we can get freedom back and we can really demand it, and they're afraid of America more than anything. We have the First Amendment, we have the Second Amendment. I love Europe, I love the whole world, but America's a special and a unique place that they don't really know what to do with. So the power's in our hands. If we can get freedom back, no question, Renaissance, Roaring 20s, it's on. But it's really in our hands. It's like, do we reclaim freedom and make a stand, or do we allow them to bamboozle us in the future? I like the optimism.
Now, I'm going to ask you now before we head to the break. Can I get you to hang on for one more segment so we can talk about some UFOs and ETs?
Absolutely, because I know nothing about it, and I got some questions.
Our guest tonight, An0maly, the one and only. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We're going to take a quick break right here. I see everybody is posting the red phone. That was a big fear of mine. I always had to censor myself over when I was on the big network. I didn't dig it. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. We'll be right back. You can follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Follow An0maly at Legendary Energy right there on Twitter. We'll be right back.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
This is Jimmy Church of Fade to Black, and I take Life Change Tea supplements every single day. It's what I do. Click on their banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roasted to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied, dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at JimmyChurchRadio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hello, my name is Billy Carson, and I am a best-selling author and the founder of ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Together with my team, we have built an all-new conscious streaming TV platform designed with every family member in mind. If you have ever wanted to travel the world and attend lectures and workshops from your favorite speakers but weren't able to, look no further. ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. There are dozens of workshops and lectures from speakers you know and love. We have also included amazing categories to assure that your consciousness is entertained and elevating on a daily basis. Amazing interviews, ancient history, ascension knowledge, wisdom teachings, documentaries, conspiracies, mysteries, health and fitness, conscious cooking, meditations, finance, yoga, and so much more. To start your free trial on any mobile device or computer, surf to ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. That's Forbidden Knowledge with the number 4, ForbiddenKnowledge.tv. Again, visit ForbiddenKnowledge.tv today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Our guest tonight, An0maly. What a great conversation. Oh, man, I learned so much from the youngsters. You teach me, man. You teach me. And you know what's funny? I have two daughters. They're both 25. Love them to death. And I never would have thought that I would turn into my parents. In that, right? I never thought that I would. I like to think that I'm young, hip, cool, got my finger on the pulse. I know what's going on. I'm fresh. And you find out very quickly that you are not. And our world is going to be cool. This young generation is very concerned about the environment, about politics, about health, about the future and things, and we're going to be in good hands long after I'm gone, with people like you, helping guide, and I really mean that, An0maly. Now, enough of that. You watch Fox, okay? I know you do. And
No, I don't have a TV.
Now you're fibbing. And
I don't have cable. I have no TV.
But you got to hear the question first.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, you got to hear the question first. Over the last 2 or 3 years, Fox, CNN too, and other networks, it's certainly not Fox and the New York Times, but Tucker Carlson took the UFO question and put it on his back and carried it. He covered it nightly. President Trump was questioned about it by his own son and by Tucker. And this was put out there in the mainstream very heavily. Were you surprised by that?
A little bit, but I think Tucker does a lot of stories a lot of people don't do. He'll go against the grain a lot more. So I figured if it was anyone, it would be him. But yeah, I'm skeptical. You're the guy here, so I don't know. I take it with a grain of salt.
You take what with a grain of salt? The UFO.
Certain UFO stories where I like to see evidence. I like to see who's pushing it. Is it where's it coming from? What proof do they have?
Well, okay. This is great. This is going to be good. Everybody, buckle up. Have you ever seen anything in the sky that you can't explain?
I have. Yeah, no, I've seen some crazy stuff.
Like what?
I don't know if you know Prince EA, but he's like a spoken word poet. We were hanging out one time in the Malibu mountains at someone's party, and this thing, I don't even know what exactly it was. I think they said it was some sort of SpaceX explosion, but we saw it live. It was colorful. It was long. It was enormous, like green. It was some next level stuff. I don't know. And then they came out and said it was something. I don't. But yeah, I don't know if I even believe their narrative on that.
So what goes through your mind when you see something like that? Something so extraordinary and huge. What goes through your mind? The aliens are here. It's an invasion, right? What goes through your mind?
It was exciting because it was far enough that I wasn't like afraid of it hitting me. But I was like, it was just like epic. I don't know. It was like, it just wasn't stopping. I was like, look at that. And it happened so fast. So I was just taking it in.
Yeah. When you see something like that, your adrenaline rushes, right?
Definitely.
And now let's flip this a little bit. Let's say that it wasn't explained away, right? Oh, it was SpaceX. It was this. It was a Vandenberg launch. It was, it was an experimental rocket, and we had to blow whatever. But say that excuse doesn't come in. Does this make you, because of your curiosity, start to question your own reality about us being alone?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even when the media reports, I like to see who says it, who, like, they've lost my trust. So, I'm very skeptical of them. But yeah, a little bit. I think there's always that possibility. I also think it's interesting that the ocean is so unexplored. So it's like the amount of things that we don't understand on this earth are so enormous. I'm definitely open to anything.
And now there was a lot of things that happened at the same time. It wasn't just Tucker. It was the Pentagon. It was the Navy. It was UFO videos. It was pilots coming out and talking about what they saw and what they witnessed. And it was radar. Everything happened all at the same time, to the point where Marco Rubio on the Senate Intelligence Committee decides to start a UFO, they call it UAP, Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force. Right now, it's like, wait a minute. This went from us, the tinfoil hat conspiracy community, to the Senate. Now, and we've got Trump talking about it. Now UFOs are being discussed by the Senate Intelligence Committee. Is this a point where the UFO community needs to start trusting the government all of a sudden, right? Where that would never happen that way before, but suddenly the government is our friend. What do we do with that anomaly?
Yeah, I don't know if me personally, when I see it's New York Times, it's Pentagon, I'm thinking, what's the ulterior motive? And really, I just want to ask you, because you have way more in the community, researching, know people. UFOs is like I know nothing about. So that's my question to you is, what do you think when this all comes out? Are you buying it? Like, oh, they care about us? Or are you feeling some sort of play?
No, I trust nobody.
So what's the play? What do you think their angle? Why are they doing it?
That's a great question, and thank you for asking. I look at everything in totality, An0maly, where we've got science, hard science, talking about fast radio burst and radio signals coming from deep space. We had An0maly a couple of years ago fly through our solar system, our first interstellar visitor from outside of our, not a meteorite, not an asteroid. This came from outside of our solar system. That comes in. We have these exoplanets being discovered. So we have all the science stuff coming in about the discovery of alien life and the search for it. And you couple all of that coming in the media with the government, the Pentagon, and Trump, and Tucker Carlson, and the New York Times, the military-industrial complex, and you have to step back and go, what is actually going on here? What is the reason for all of this? I have to step back and my logical, it's like Occam's razor, right? The simplest answer is probably the correct one, which is they're trying to inform the planet and get them acclimated to the idea of us not being alone, right? That's it. Rather than have us be shocked with some huge event that would happen and freak out the planet. Instead, just let everybody understand that we're not alone in the universe. There's billions of planets out there just in our Milky Way. We've got radio bursts that are coming to this planet. We've got our own military having their own encounters. We've got all of this information coming in. And, and so that way, when something big happens, and I think that they know that something is about to happen, that when it does, we're not going to go into a downward spiral, right? We're not going to freak out. That's what I think ultimately is going on. I don't trust the government. I don't trust the government for a lot of different reasons. And so before any of us go and trust, we need to let some time pass by here. We can't go all in and just embrace the Pentagon as being on our side without something happening in front of it and a track record there. I'm not willing to do it. My emotions couldn't handle it. I don't want to be, lied to again. You know, and I think that's the best way for my audience to understand all of this, you know, and that's my take.
Well, I like the way you do it too, because it's like if it's something that you could see, you know, a cloud or something, that's a cloud. You're sure. You know, this is something you can't be sure about, so you have that discernment, which I find a lot of people don't. Everybody wants to say, I'm 100% sure it's going to be this, and they're wrong all the time because, you know, it's something so complex. So I love the answer. I think anything's possible. I'm going to read a headline. I just pulled it up real quick because I saw this in December, and I know I'm always like wondering the take. It says, former Israeli space security chief says aliens exist, humanity not ready, this galactic federation. They're talking about Israel and the U.S. You know, that was a big bombshell where he's like, it exists, humans aren't ready. And I'm thinking to myself, there's the you know, conspiracy theorists who say things like Project Bluebeam or whatever, like they're going to do some sort of false flag with, you know, kind of like invisible virus. I know people who've got COVID, and I believe it's real because there's like weird side effects that it has. People lose taste, and I think it's a real thing. But it's tricky because, you know, Trump will say invisible enemy, and it's like, wow, what a perfect thing. It's invisible. But you know, where it's like with a, you know, a UFO, it's something that could be fake. So that's one theory I've heard. I'm just wondering what you're thinking about when you see that type of stuff, where I'm like, yeah, are they trying to warn us? Are they faking us out? Clearly, like unidentified flying objects, say that alone, people have seen them. You know, they say it's military, they say it's this. There's so much stuff going on that no one knows about, technology we're unaware about, whether it comes from this, that. Like I said, no one talks about the ocean, but it's like it's so unexplored in the ocean. Who knows what's going on down there? Maybe there's something down there that could come up. You know, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there where it's like I'm so open to this stuff. But yeah, what do you think about that? When he said that, same thing?
Well, see, okay. 5 years ago, that would have never reached the media. Never. It would have never even gotten a blink of an eye. But today, that's suddenly a story, and that went viral. That was picked up by all of the news platforms around the world very quickly, because he was he was in the Defense Department, part of their top secret satellite division, and he was somebody that was in the know. If you read the story, An0maly, there's something very interesting that happened there, and I called it from the beginning. He never said, I was part of these arrangements with ETs and agreements with, no, he didn't say that. He didn't say, I read the information about these secret bases on Mars that Earth has. He didn't say that. He didn't say, I. He just said it as a statement, like he read it on some crazy website. And then I believe shortly after that, it was revealed that this was information that his granddaughter told him.
Wow.
That she got off of the net. So this wasn't any secret government information from inside of Israel that he was privy to because he was, you know, a part of the Israeli Defense Force. No, it wasn't about that. It turns out his granddaughter told him some stuff. He repeated it in his book. It gets translated. It was in Hebrew, gets translated into English. Suddenly, Haim is revealing secret agreements with ET species off planet with the Galactic Federation, and we have a base on Mars that we share with little green men. You know, but the story caught on because of the environment that we are in today. All right. And very interesting. No, I totally agree. It caught on. Hadn't I just used a little discernment, right? Now, what I want you to do after the show tonight, I'm glad you grabbed the headline. Read through that, and you'll see none of it is in the first person. He doesn't say, I was part of this.
Great work. No, that's what I do all the time.
You do it like, all the time.
Yeah. That one I glanced on because I'm not that into UFOs. Where I threw it at you. I'm like, what does this mean? 99% of people won't do the research you did, and that's how things kind of get started. I caught 2 of those during the election. There was a general 3-star or whatever. He said something about, the Trump winning before the 20th. And I did more research on him. And he also said that there was a server in Germany, and he did the same thing. He was going off of something he read. And so did one of these senators or Republican guys. He said it, and then he said he saw it on Twitter. And I'm like, that's his source. Where it's crazy because people think, okay, trusted person, general, Israeli, they would never, they know some. It's like, they're humans too. So some of them, I guess they don't know how to use the internet, or they go off rumors. So that's a great catch. And normally I catch it, but I remember seeing those headlines, and I'm like, it's not something I click on, because it's not even like I'm not interested, but I'm like, okay, I need to see some proof. Him saying that, that doesn't mean anything to me.
I remember this was a couple of years ago with you. So I don't remember exactly what the subject was. But there was a bunch of misinformation across the board about this subject. And you went and you did this compilation video. I can't believe the amount of work that you put into it. You put in emails, letters, posts, different networks saying things, quotes from these different people. And you put this huge compilation together and said, look, it's all BS. And this is the reason why. And you put in a lot of work on that. Nobody would do it. And in a weird way, by you doing this to your audience, you're also freaking your audience out because they bought the story. It doesn't matter what it's about, but you took the time, you did the work for them. And I can't imagine how much time you spent on that video. I could not believe the amount of research that was put into it, but that is what you do. You know what? You probably don't even remember because you've done so many videos just like that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And I did one today. It was way less work, but I kind of just debunked 2 things. And the reason I did it, some people got really upset, but the reason I did it, because I'm like, it's not even just falling for it, not a big deal. I said, if you're a big influencer and you have a big audience and you fell for it, you should be more careful. But the average user, but if you could see that, then you could realize how you fell for it and try not to fall for it again. Where it was the domain thing. If you go to Antifa.com, it goes to the White House. And a lot of conservatives are saying this is a bombshell, Antifa, White House. It's just forwarding a domain. I have 10 domains. I could forward them to wherever. Loser.com, someone forwarded to Trump's Wikipedia. So whoever owns loser.com probably doesn't like Trump. And whoever owns Antifa.com doesn't like Joe Biden, and they're trolling. But it's very easy to do, and people don't know that. So I pointed it out. Most people liked it, and I got some high-profile, big influencers who say, dude, that even fooled me. I didn't know about that. Thank you. Where it's like, that's the point of it. It's not even to make fun of somebody or laugh at them or hate on them. But I'm like, there's so many traps out there. If I was researching UFOs, I would have done the work that you did to see that. But what you did there, 99% of people won't do. So I'm sure even Rogan covered that on, I think I saw him cover that on Joe Rogan podcast, and I don't know that he read the whole thing, and that gets broadcasted. So that's how the big, the headline over content really, really takes hold. Even me, they got me on that.
Yeah. I saw the post last week about Antifa.com redirects to the White House, and see, I told you, man, right? And I saw that, and I sat back. Doesn't anybody know that you can go to your own website and redirect it anywhere you want? You want it to go to Muppets.com, Tupperware.com, WhiteHouse.gov. All you got to do is type it in. End of story. It's not. I just cannot believe. Personal friends of mine, An0maly, friends that I've known for decades, took the bait on that. And I cannot even reply. I can't do it. I can't say anything. I just can't do it. But the reactions from everybody, I read through it. I had to do it. Just watching the reactions. See, I told you, man. We got to stay the course. It's like, oh, man.
And it's interesting to see who, there were some big influencers that thanked me. A lot of people that said, hey, I didn't know that. And some people who spiraled and said, you're a shill. I knew it. And I'm like, I'm a shill because I pointed this out. I'm not saying any commentary on Biden or Antifa or anything, because what I really want people to do, it was same with him signing papers. It looked blank because of the exposure, but in the other one, it had writing on it. And I'm like, he's not my guy. I'm just saying, if there's so many conspiracies to talk about, it's not the year that we need to grasp at straws to talk about, who's the Illuminati or where's the UFO. We have too much stuff going on. We have thousands. You don't have to invent a fake one. You're only derailing the movement. So that's the whole point of it. It's like, we got too much. It's 2021. We're locked inside the house. Like, we got fodder for days.
Yeah, I know. We do. And how do we change it, though? I mean, that's the thing. You and I can practice our discernment and understand this, and we can talk about it. And some people are going to be affected by it and maybe respond to it in a positive way. Some are not. But we've got another, 250 million people in this country, another 7 billion people on this planet that don't understand these things. How do we get people to open up their eyes and maybe, hopefully, practice a little discernment?
Yeah, I guess it all starts from within. It's like, if you could change yourself, that's a huge step. If you can open one person's eyes, like the PSYOP video I did, of course I got a lot of backlash, but I got way more thank you, 100 people, 1,000 people. Like that alone, if everybody does that, there's been cool messages. I'm sure you've got too, inspired people throughout your career where it's been like, hey, like you were the reason I started making videos and now they're doing well. It can be like a seed effect. And eventually, depending what happens in this country, people are going to have to make their own communities. I'm not talking like a cult or a commune, but I was really upset with the lockdowns for a couple months. I'm still annoyed, but I have to be at peace with it because I can't. There's only so much you can do. I'm not running the country. I don't run the CDC or the FEMA camps or whatever. So it's like I can work as hard as I can, and then, I got to leave it alone and enjoy myself. So if only it were that simple. But, the yin and the yang, the world goes on. Some people, maybe they'll never wake up, but I guess we just can't focus on that.
Yeah, I have a very strange, and I like to say this a lot, I'm never wrong. But I have this strange feeling inside of myself that very soon, I'm talking about a couple of weeks, maybe a month, that we will start to look back at 2020 differently than we do now. And very quickly, we are going to turn into a positive light. We are exhausted with the negativity. We are exhausted with the fear. We are exhausted with the uncertainty of the future. We're exhausted with all of that. I mean, that's it. We can only take it and deal with it for so long. And I think that we are naturally going to change this into the other direction. That's my take. And I think it's going to happen organically. I don't think it's going to be force-fed. I don't think the media is going to have anything to do with it. The planet is going to chart their own course.
I like that. Yeah, I think so. I think there's only so much. Like, social media was cool, it's fun, we're connected, and then we just got burnt out. So then it's like I see more and more people looking for solutions, trying to lower their time. I think that's it. I know a book that inspired me. It was Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching. It's like a Taoist, very chill book, interesting stuff. When I listened to that, I was like, man, that makes so much more sense than what I was thinking as far as like wanting all this and being I was like, being grateful, appreciative. And, I pretty much never went back, where it's like, that's going to be it on humanity, where you can only take so much lockdown, so much fear. I see, people are going to get burned out. And if you have solutions ready for them and they catch on quickly, that shift can happen fast. I love the optimism, and just putting that out there, I think, is powerful.
I don't know when I am going to eat popcorn with a black cherry Slurpee in a theater. Right? I mean, it's been gone for so long. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do that again. That's crazy to have that taken from me. But that's the way that I actually feel. That part of the deprogramming has worked, or programming, right? I mean, you remove that from culture for a year. What is it going to be me. I don't even know who they are because I can't see their face. And that is very, very effective. We're going to have to make that change to get back into just sort of where we were before, right?
Yeah, and your theater to me, like I liked cruises. I just started to go on them again, and I love the freedom and just having a good time. And now they've ruined that. I don't know if I'll ever go on again. They have mask rules. So it's like being in a desert and not drinking. If we do get that stuff back, I'm never going to squander it again. I'm going to be so grateful, so appreciative, and I think millions of people will. But I just pray that it comes back because, yeah, it's at the point now where I'm an optimistic person. I know you are. And I'm just logically looking at it like there's a chance that we could get it back in a year, 2 years, 3 years. They'll stop doing all these restrictions. There's a chance they might just spiral and never stop doing this. So it's like it's such a shocking turn of events, even for somebody into conspiracies. I knew about FEMA camps, this and that, like how quickly they were able to just shift our reality and be like, wow, that's gone. It's like shocking.
Yeah, my sister-in-law said to me last night, she said, when do you think we will know when we're back to normal? I said, honestly, when we are in Vegas in a casino without face mask. I'll feel normal when that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I like the cruises. I'm like, they're never going to, they ruin that forever because the older population's on there. People die on cruises even just because the average age is 80. I've had 2 of them. Like people had to get heli-vaced and stuff. You know, you got 2,000 people, average age 80. Like that's just, you know, what happened. So now they're going to say death by COVID, shut it down. I'm like, man, let me and grandma just listen to the Bee Gees one more time.
2,000 people average. An0maly, thank you so much, man. What a great night on the show, man.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
Now, where can everyone?
Easiest thing to spell, and Instagram, it's Dream Rare. So DREAMRARE, one word, Dream Rare on Instagram. It's one of my cleanest platforms because I only upload the best videos there and like the cleanest ones. So on Instagram, I also have a YouTube. If you search Dream Rare, all one word on YouTube, or An0maly, AN0MALY. That's AN0, the number 0, MALY, An0maly. Facebook and YouTube, I do live streams a lot on there. So any of what I say the other one? Yeah, YouTube. I'm on BitChute, I'm on Rumble, I'm on Parler, but they took it down. So I'm all over, but I do the main platforms for now. And you could check that out. Thank you for having me, Jimmy. I appreciate it, and always a pleasure.
You're the best. All of An0maly's links are over at jimmychurchradio.com. And with that, we just went bumper to bumper, pole to pole, top to bottom, front to back, An0maly. Thank you so much. Fade to Black's executive producers, Rita Camarion. Shows produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee, Dennis, and Kevin. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Vitoa, Mark D. Kovar. Webmasters, Drew the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy, spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network, and syndication is KGRA, The Planet. This broadcast owned and copyrighted 2021 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black of the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tomorrow night, right here, Roy Firestone. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Until tomorrow night, I want everybody to be safe. Fade to Black.